a teaser.
I gave a teaser.
You gave a teaser?
Okay.
Oh, we should have teased some things. This is going to be very confusing to some people tuning in.
About how Arman changed gender?
Yes, Arman. Sorry, it's Armania now, right?
Exactly right. A little bit off on the pronunciation.
Armania. Sorry, and it's a she Z.
She's
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay,
She's
okay.
No. You're wrong. I'm offended. It's
Damn it.
she.
Pronouns.
Key.
What? Oh God! Now you're just fucking with me.
All right, let me get this in the Discord.
This is live, right?
It's good
Yes,
we're not
you're
live
very
yet.
live.
Wait, is this live?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. As you may have noticed, Arman is not here tonight, which is unfortunate because we did have, I think, a very Arman-heavy topic. For those of you who do not know, we saw some gnarly shit today. We saw a popular right-wing influencer, Charlie Kirk, took a bullet to the fucking neck on my feed, which I did not consensually see. Thank you, Elon. But yeah, things got a little heavy today, and wanted to bring in some help. So I'd like to introduce you to my friend Stephanie Myers. Stephanie is a news anchor on One American News Network, who some of you probably recognize as like a fairly right-wing network, but like it's Stephanie. You are not you're not like a opinion person. You're kind of like a Brett Baer type. You read the news. I think you consider yourself to be conservative, but probably not like overly so. Is that accurate?
I think you hit the nail right on the head. Yes, I'm one of the anchors and reporters, but as you mentioned, I report on the facts, what's happening. I'm not a talk show host, so I don't give my opinion. Even when I interview guests, I always ask them what they think rather than me projecting my own opinion onto them.
Well, we're gonna ask you what you think.
Is this your first podcast appearance?
It is not. I believe it's my third.
Okay. Well, we're honored to be.
What was your last podcast?
My last podcast was with Rich Summers.
Rich Summers,
And
the
then-
owner of the boat Bag Secured 2, which I see floating around in San Diego Harbor.
Oh, wow.
I
I didn't know that.
I'm not
Wait,
really sure.
hold on. I've heard
Wait,
stories
Bo?
about this guy.
And then my first podcast was with it was actually a French. I don't know if it was a podcast per se, but I was actually a interview with a French media company.
Oh, wow.
But that was a couple of years ago.
Do you parlez-vous? Was it in French?
I think.
They were speaking in English.
Okay.
It was kind of broken English, but at the same time, it was. I mean, of course, I could understand their questions and everything. So.
Okay. Well, we hope this
yeah.
is a bit of a more entertaining experience for you. Than,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean,
than the Rich Summers pod.
I mean, you and I, we go way back. So, yeah, we go way back.
All right, well, before we get into it, maybe let's do a cheers. We'll cheers, and then we'll go and pay the bills in a second. Yeah, we'll give a cheers out to
Cheers, everybody.
Charlie.
To Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, to Charlie. Salud. All right, Eric, what are you drinking over there?
I'm on the Mind Circus hazy IPA again. This is Russian River, the best brewery in the United States, in my opinion.
Okay,
Their new hazy IPA. It's amazing.
nice. What are you pouring for us over here?
I've got
For you and Stephanie.
This is William Sellium Pinot Noir. This is a nice Pinot, by the way. I just want you to be aware.
Oh, I
If
wouldn't.
You're drinking
I wouldn't
this,
expect anything less of you.
This is a nice Pinot. We
How was
brought
that
out
on your
the-
back, by the way? That reach.
Okay, so actually it was fine on my back. I had like a whole alfalfa on before today turned into a fucking chaotic, depressive circus. We'll get this out of the way. We'll do the ad read before it starts getting like a little bit depressing.
Okay.
We'll bring the vibes up, then we'll take them down, then maybe we'll bring them back up again. I have rediscovered hanging.
On the bar?
I did two things. So my back was killing me. Like I couldn't put socks on. Like things got really, really bad. I think I was sitting in a chair too much. I did two things. One on Amazon, bought this pull-up bar that kind of wedges between my. Like I don't have like any door frames in my house, which is a fun feature. So I couldn't get one of those kind of hang on the door frame things. So I got a pull-up bar, and then I went in my garage, and I have this like a teeter hang-ups thing, which lets you like hang upside down by your feet. And I have spent like I don't know, probably like 10 to 15 minutes a day for the last week and a half just hanging, both from my arms and from my feet. No more back pain.
Really?
It's gone.
He's a part. You're part sloth.
What?
Part sloth, like sloths.
Yeah, it's a sloth.
I thought you said it was part saw. I was
Sloth.
like, sloth.
I could see your little talons hanging.
Yeah, I think that's your like. I don't. Yeah, maybe you were a sloth in a past life.
You looked like a sloth on our call yesterday. You were just fully horizontal.
Yeah.
Gave
Yeah.
1% effort on the call.
There was not much effort given on that call. I'll give that to you. But no, the hanging is great. And I did it because I saw somebody tweet in my feed where they were like, hey, they'd gone to like 15 specialists, and then they read like one Anon on Twitter who was just like, have you considered hanging from a bar? And he was just like, and I did that, and now I have no back pain. And I was like, maybe I should do that.
It works. Nick, you have an inversion
works.
table, right?
I used to.
You used to invert.
Yeah. And it just took too much space up. But I liked it. It has no like scientific evidence that it actually does anything.
That's
it just
fucking bullshit. It definitely does stuff.
Just
like,
feels good?
No, you just have to do this for like a day, and you'll be like, oh wait, this does something.
But you've also
It's
never
just
had
so
back
obvious.
pain.
It's a
Nick.
placebo effect.
I think so.
I love that you're taking the Arman role.
Just to argue.
It's good.
Fitting in so well.
Settling right in. That's good. Push back on me. Push back on me.
Gotta have some dissent, right?
No, I appreciate that. Sorry, YouTube is.
Pause it.
I was just trying to get to. I was just trying to get to the chat. I just wanted to see the chat.
Chat's in there. What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining.
All right, Nick. Do you want to just take care of business?
Yeah, let's take care of business.
before it
So,
gets awkward?
yeah, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, ZBiotics. Go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Use the code alfalfa at checkout. It'll give you 15% off the pre-alcohol, which I hope you all took yours before this podcast.
Of course.
Like good alfalfa members. As a reminder, you take it a couple hours before you start drinking, and it's a genetically engineered probiotic that takes care of that nasty toxin
Acetaldehyde.
that makes you feel like shit in the morning. So it's not the dehydration that makes you feel like crap. It's that toxin that wreaks havoc in your gut, and the pre-alcohol takes care of it for you. So yeah, football season's arrived. Get some for the weekends. Check it out. A lot of people who listen to this podcast now and in the Discord love it. It's our best kind of life alfalfa that we've given to date. So yeah, use the code alfalfa at checkout. Get 15% off. If it doesn't work for you for a reason, they'll give you your money back. And thanks, ZBiotics, for supporting us. Okay, we got a lot of people joining the chat. So thanks, guys, for hopping in and saying hi. We'll definitely get you guys in here in a second. And as a reminder, we're live on YouTube. So if you're listening to this, come to the YouTube channel, subscribe. And yeah, every Wednesday at 5 p.m., you can come in and hang.
Hook'em already said apologies in advance to Stephanie.
Why? Oh, because of the chat?
Because of the chat, and this is probably not your normal day. We're like drinking in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I need a drink. It's okay.
Okay, good.
I need a drink. Yeah.
Good. Well, you were a last minute addition to today, and we're so grateful that you can come in and last minute.
No, I'm grateful. So I mean, well, obviously not in the. Wouldn't want to be here in these sort of circumstances,
Right.
but I mean, it's just. I'm still processing everything.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, you're like, there's only one person I could probably vent to,
Yeah.
Steven, and
Yeah.
you didn't want to like text him and bother him with it, but he hit you up already.
Yeah.
And so we might do a little venting here today.
Yeah.
Do you mind giving the audience just a little bit of background, like what you do, and maybe include like your schedule? Because I think it's interesting. Like you have a different schedule than most people would expect, but it'd be cool to hear what it's like
Absolutely.
behind the scenes.
So as far as my sleep schedule is concerned, I really, honestly, I don't have one. It just kind of depends on Steven laughing because it just kind of honestly depends on a day-to-day basis. I started working at OAN One American News back in early 2015. So this was back during the Obama administration. Long story short, I wanted to work overnights, which, you know, now in my 30s, I definitely regret saying that because I wanted to continue figure skating. I figure skate. But
Neat.
I still do that, but I don't really have a sleeping schedule, but I anchor in the morning. So I get up at around 3 a.m. or so, and then I'm on the air at 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. Eastern, and then again at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And then I will write or report. Sometimes I'll be sent to political events or big disasters, and that's what I do for work. And then I will sometimes write for the web. So I kind of wear a lot of different hats.
Okay.
Wait, so you're gonna be on 8 p.m. tonight? We go.
3 a.m.
Oh, okay.
3 a.m.
We're not gonna go till
Pacific.
3.
I don't know if you're sure how clocks work, but
Did you just wake up then, like a couple hours ago?
No, I haven't gone to sleep yet.
Oh shit!
Because
From the
of
night
the news.
prior.
Because I was thinking,
God,
oh, I
feel
can't
like
wait.
we have questions for you just from like a biohacking perspective. Maybe we can do that. later.
Yeah, right. I mean, exactly. Everyone is saying that I should get the Aura ring, and I feel like I should. I used to have some.
Rick's like, hey, you might be dead.
Don't get it. Don't get it. It'll
I know.
mess you up.
Your slip score's
I
zero?
I had a
New high score?
Garmin
Wait, it's
sort
negative?
of wristwatch before, not a watch per se, but or like a fitness tracker, and it would say like, "Oh yeah, you got 3 hours of sleep last night." I'm like, oh great, yeah, of course I did. But it just honestly depends on a day-to-day basis how my body is feeling, which is, yeah, I wish I had a schedule. But when people ask me, I say I don't really have one, and I still don't to this day. It's just kind of random, and like I said, breaking news when it comes
Happens,
out, I'm
happens.
like, oh my goodness, yeah, the adrenaline rush and just, yeah.
Forgive the curiosity, but like when you're up in front of the camera, are you the one who wrote what you're gonna say in front of the like? Is there a teleprompter first of all? And like, did you write it? Did you and the producers write it? Like, how does that work?
So we have writers in our newsroom, and then I'll also write some scripts. Anytime I have a guest on, I'm the one who's doing the graphics, the B-roll. I'm the one coming up with the questions and so forth. And I always do ad lib. For example, if we're doing a live hit with our chief White House correspondent, just so it's more conversational rather than question answer. But we have writers in the newsroom who write the scripts, and then we read them and make sure that everything is fact checked. And then we go on air and we read the scripts. And of course, if there's breaking news, we of course stay on top of that. We have something called Data Miner, which I think I was telling Steven a little bit about it earlier, but it's just so. For example, with the Charlie Kirk assassination, I was just keeping an eye on my email for these data miner alerts to see, and then I also get press releases from the House Gallery, from the White House, etc. So I'm always just kind of looking at my email. Actually, fun fact, although I always make sure before I leave, the end of the day for me, which is kind of depends, but I always make sure I only have 289,999 emails in my inbox.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, well,
That's a weird compulsion.
inbox zero.
I know exactly. A lot of that because
Inbox 300K.
I would get literally because I get probably close to 500 emails a day. A lot of it is breaking news updates, for example, through this data miner. But yeah, I always am just on top of it, or else I just have to in case I miss a press release or a pitch. So I always go through my emails, but a lot of those emails, of course, stem from back in 2020 when I wasn't very active in checking my email and so forth. I mean, I was still obviously going into the office, but I was just getting a little behind, and then that blew up.
Okay, we already got a little feedback from the chat.
What does
you
it
have
say?
First of all, you have a middle school classmate that is watching the pod.
No way.
Yeah.
Wait, who?
Yeah.
No, you're
well,
lying.
his handle is Daniel Sachs, and he says,
Oh my God, Danny
Yeah.
Sachs!
No way.
Yes, oh my God, Danny, I had a crush on you back in 8th grade. Wait, that is so funny.
Wow. just
Wait, that is, oh my
revealing,
God.
Danny boy.
Danny,
Back in 8th
dog.
grade.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
we went to the same middle school together.
Where was that?
In like
TVT
Irvine.
says.
Yeah, TVT, yeah.
Did Danny Sachs peak in 8th grade?
We don't know.
I guess he went to a different high school.
Okay.
I don't know where you went, Danny, but oh my gosh, wait, hi.
Back into your life.
So funny. Such a
Steven, you
small
called
world.
it. Jack says, definitely need the biohack from Stephanie. How much caffeine nicotine intake per day? Assuming she just inhales nicotine.
Okay,
somehow.
right.
so fun fact. Okay, because I have a very addictive personality, especially to Diet Coke. Have you guys seen that meme where it's the Cinderella, like before she's had her Diet Coke and then after she's had her Diet
No,
Coke?
that sounds like a female meme.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we love it.
I don't get female
No,
memes.
no. It's like, oh my gosh. I think like White People Humor has tweeted about, not tweeted or whatever it's called, posted about it before. But it's like before I've had my Diet Coke, and it looks like kind of Cinderella's, not Grumpy Cat per se, but Cinderella before she grows up. And then it's like after I've had my Diet Coke. But I don't like how Diet Coke has aspartame in it. And of course I get like so
Yeah,
much
it's gross.
flack for like, oh yeah, a Diet Coke has aspartame.
Coke
and
Zero for life.
Yeah, Coke Zero's better.
But it still has aspartame.
I don't care. It tastes
No,
better.
I mean, it tastes better.
Way better.
Oh, I don't, but I'm like, I think it's that not placebo effect per se, but anyway, and so but I've been on Zevia
Okay.
for the past couple of months.
So
even though
you're-
it's
you're-
very
cola
This is
thing.
not
lightweight stuff. The
stevia.
guys want to know the nicotine and the caffeine,
no,
the hard stuff.
I don't do any nicotine or caffeine. I don't smoke weed. Like I'll smoke weed like once or twice a year, and
No
it's only,
coffee?
I'm not a huge coffee person.
Okay.
Dude,
I
you can't
have
act
a
like
coffee
you can't act
maker.
this squared. Danny Sachs is listening.
I honestly like I just never because here's the thing. When it comes to coffee, I'm the type that's like, oh, I want to put all this cream and sugar in it. And then I'm thinking, why would I do that? Well, like, why would I drink coffee when I'd much rather have dessert, for example, for all those calories and sugars?
Agree.
You know, so I try to weigh it. I mean, when I was in high school and everything, I could just eat whatever I wanted. Like I would never gain a pound. It was great. I
Same.
miss that now. But I was a string bean for sure.
Yeah, you're so huge now.
All right, now there's a Diet Coke, Coke Zero debate in the chat, and
Okay, what did they
you're
say?
making Daniel blush, Eric. So stop.
Danny boy.
Donnie boy.
All right. Should we get into it a little bit?
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
perfect Alfalfa intro, honestly. I
Yeah.
don't know if you do that intentionally, but that's like basically every episode.
Yeah.
We're like, let's talk about the end of the human race. Also, here's a fun little random thing
I
about
told you
hanging
I
on
was-
pull-up bars and Diet Coke.
Yeah, sauce and Diet Coke. That's yeah. You just need to, I guess, tap into your spirit animal, which for me would probably be the opposite of a koala because I think they get 22 hours of sleep a day.
You're the
So
opposite.
I'm like the opposite.
It's your inverse spirit.
Yeah.
animal.
Now I sound like a crazy like cuckoo lady, but it's okay.
All right,
yeah.
so I have to try to weave this in now, huh?
No, I think. Well, who's better to give the? Because I would like just the facts up front, and then we can
Yeah.
How
kind
about
of go from there.
put it in the hands
Should
of
we have
professional.
should we have the reporter give
I
the
mean,
facts?
how do you feel about it? You feel
Yeah.
up to date enough to just give us
Oh,
the
absolutely.
rundown?
Tee-
I've been
tee us up.
glued to this.
For
So,
people who are not, if any, some people out there listening, maybe
Including us. Like today, I wasn't near
Yeah.
my phone or laptop
you,
for
you
most
and
of
I
the
are
day, so
deeper
I'm actually.
in politics
Yeah.
culture than
Yeah.
most of our audience.
So
probably.
it was around 12:20 p.m. Utah time, Mountain Time.
Okay.
And I remember I got a notification on my phone that Charlie Kirk has been shot at, I think it was Utah Valley campus or Utah Valley University. I'm so sorry, I forget the name of the university itself, but it was in Utah. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I hope this was kind of like what happened to Trump. Like maybe he got hit his ear.
Grazed.
I looked at Twitter. The first thing that popped up was a video from Autism. I think it's called, what is the Autism Capital?
Autism Capital. We're very
Autism
familiar with
Capital,
this
yeah.
account on this podcast.
And I saw the video and I was just absolutely horrified. And so, of course, I checked my email, my work email. Like I said, I'm getting all these press releases, all these updates. And, you know, I saw the video and I was like thinking to myself, oh my, it would be a miracle if he lived. And I was just glued to the TV, glued to my email. And it was interesting because I was talking to my mom and I was talking to my brother and I was like, I can't believe this is happening right now. I knew Charlie. I told Stephen earlier, I knew Charlie on a professional level for many years. And I was just, and I was thinking, I was like, who can I like vent to about this or talk to about this? Because this is really, I just like, it's still for me, even to process it is just, I'm still sort of in that denial stage. It doesn't feel real. So far, what we know is that the FBI Director Kash Patel said that they still do not have a suspect in custody. They originally did. He was released, and then they had a person of interest in custody. A person of interest, just to like make clear, is not the same as a suspect, but apparently they were cleared. So the suspect is still at large. And unfortunately, like at first, people, it was reported by the Associated Press that Charlie Kirk was in critical condition. And then, of course, later we found out. You even texted me, and I was just really hoping it would be fake news. You texted me a screenshot. I think it was from Real America's Voice, I believe, that Charlie Kirk
the Chiron,
passed.
yeah.
And yeah, the Chiron. And I thought, oh my God, I really hope that this was photoshopped or something.
Right.
You know, maybe people are just trying to get pharma bait, rage bait. And then once I received the alerts on my phone from the Utah speaker and from the Utah governor, and then when President Trump, when he posted on Truth Social, I was in shock. I mean, in shock. And then I don't even know why I decided to do this, because I do love Reddit, just going on there to observe, but I went on Reddit and then I had to leave Reddit. Reddit is just such an echo chamber.
What's
of
going
its
on
own.
Reddit?
Yeah. What
Oh,
will we
Reddit,
see?
I mean, they would just essentially gaslight Charlie Kirk. Well, he said all these things about,
All the comments are like, thoughts and prayers for the bullet.
yeah, and
Is the bullet okay?
Wow.
Yeah,
Jesus.
just like,
Okay.
like
And
a
it's
thousand
just-
comments like that.
it's
and
just
like,
a very much like a left-wing echo chamber. And I have one parent who's a Republican, one parent who's a Democrat. They're still together, but they don't let their politics get in the way. And I feel like in the fact that when you have political violence, when you have people protesting in the form of political violence, we've lost our way. It's a sad day for America. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, it's a sad day. I would be saying this if it was a left-wing influential podcaster or organizer, founder. It doesn't matter who it is. This is a sad day in America. And Charlie Kirk, clearly he had such an influential voice, especially among, we were talking about this, the younger generations, among the Gen Z.
Can you help
and so
me?
forth.
Like, I agree with you. This is like, nobody wants to see anybody get assassinated.
Yeah.
First of all, but I am not like a follower of political news. So
Mm-hmm.
can you help me, like, just add some context to help me? Like, who is Charlie Kirk? Because
Yeah,
this
half
was
the people
first
in the
time.
office didn't actually know, who never heard of him
Really?
before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you could maybe, if there's someone listening who's in the same boat, like
Yeah, no, of course.
to what extent was, you mentioned his influence, but be curious.
So I first heard of Charlie Kirk back in 2017, 2018, but he's the founder of Turning Point USA, and he goes to college campuses and he will openly debate anyone. He will openly debate anyone because he's so sharp on all of his debates. I would not want to debate him
No way.
on anything. And he goes to college campuses, he recruits, and he kind of shows sort of the other side of, listen, this is what's being taught to you in schools, but he definitely focuses a lot of his beliefs on religion, on faith, on sort of the nuclear family, and getting back to that, and why conservatism and why the conservative values, why they're more advantageous to society. That's why he goes to college campuses, because he knows that they're essential. And I don't want to say this just he knows that a lot of students are young. A lot of these professors, they write their own books that you have to purchase. I was telling Stephen this, for my political science class in college, I had to purchase a book from my professor who wrote the book themselves about politics. How is that not a conflict of interest? And you have this inherent bias. And I even told Stephen, on some topics, I will have an inherent bias toward. But Charlie Kirk, he was just such an influential media figure. Like I said, I met him back in 2018, and no matter what, even if you disagree with him, he would always be respectful. And it's just, like I said, I think it's a very sad day in America. He was just a huge conservative political figure. And if anyone wants to add to that, like I said, I feel like my brain is kind of sort of mishmash.
Well, I
of
mean, he
everything.
also was a husband and a father,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So
And
does
he
he have,
was-
how many
he
kids
was
did he have?
31.
Two kids.
31, yeah.
Wow, he's young.
God,
Yeah.
like he's younger than half the people who listen to this pod.
Yeah.
So
It's just crazy to think about. And yeah, like he's like, we're saying like, oh, he's an influencer, he's this, that. He's a dad. He's like
Yeah,
a
at the end of the day,
dad
he's
to
a dad.
two girls, I
Yeah.
think.
A boy and a girl.
Boy and a girl,
Yeah.
like dad to two kids. And
So what could compel somebody to be upset about somebody who's pushing a narrative of like nuclear families? That's like a
Have you ever watched some of the debates at all?
I've never watched.
I mean,
I've only heard this guy's
they're
name
somewhat
today.
contentious to the extent that, like, usually the students are usually pretty emotional. He often does win, and then obviously when it gets clipped on social media, depending on who clips it, it looks like Charlie owns these
got-
people and
this guy
destroys
got
them.
dunked
And
on.
yeah, and so just
Kirk destroys liberator. Like it's like, for sure.
It's
Which
like,
is
like a lot of that. So just
Dude,
from a
social media team,
novice point of
right?
view, the social media kind of kicks it up a notch to where you think this guy's like
And I
your
don't know if
enemy.
you saw this, but like Charlie's not like niche. Like he was in a South Park episode.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Oh,
I think
yeah,
the last
yeah.
episode, or maybe 2 episodes ago,
It was about him.
Yeah.
Cartman became like Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
he's pretty mainstream. Even people haven't like heard about him. Right.
Right.
from my perspective, I mean, so this is weird for me. Like at one point today, like I felt like really sad. Like I started almost like breaking down into tears at one point, and I was trying to think like, why did this happen? Because like it's not like I know him personally, but you know, I realized like I've probably listened to like hundreds of hours of this guy talk, and like it's probably like some people that I've never met, like with me, like there are probably some people who've listened to all of us talk for thousands of hours at this point.
Yeah, you feel a
right?
connection.
You feel like
Yeah.
like you hear the person talk more than you hear like your own mother at one point, right?
Yeah,
Like if you're just
totally.
listening to somebody like rip off like hour-long pods like over and over and over again, like you feel like you know that person very well. And to see that person like die is like it's kind of rough. So that was bad. But the other reason this is kind of fucked to me is like it felt like a culmination of a lot of stuff we've been talking about on this pod for a while. Like when Luigi killed the United Healthcare CEO, like
And
I
he's
was like,
he's like celebrated for that.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, this is bad. Like red flags, red flags, red flag. Like, do you guys see what's happening? Like, I think most of our audience is not deep in political Twitter all day, right? So they're just living their lives. They're going to work. They're taking care of their family. They're not seeing what's like brewing underneath the surface. But like, you know, I'm like deep in these worlds. Like I'm deep in right wing, left wing, far right wing, far left wing. Like I listen to like everything because I just hate myself apparently.
Well,
But, you know.
to that point, maybe I can bring this up now. Can I read a post from Charlie from April of this year? He says, assassination culture is spreading on the left. 48% of liberals say it would be at least somewhat justified to murder Elon Musk.
48%?
48%. 55% said the same thing about Donald Trump. In California, activists are naming ballot measures after Luigi Mangione. The left is being whipped into a violent frenzy. Any setback, whether losing an election or losing a court case, justifies a maximally violent response. This is the natural outgrowth of left-wing protest culture, tolerating violence and mayhem for years on end. The cowardice of local prosecutors and school officials have turned the left into a ticking time bomb. And he has some charts to match it.
Didn't you tweet about this or repost about this? I always still say tweet, but
Yeah.
didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I didn't,
it's just
like it's just I don't know. Like it's one of those things where like for a long time at this point I've been like, hey, like it's very popular notion that like the right are these like gun-toting like white nationalist violent people like blowing up Oklahoma City and stuff. But like actually like the violent people are like kind of on the left right now. And then people will be like, well, like what about this one thing? What about this one thing? And it becomes hard to like generalize and be like, well, this is like a 60-40 thing or a 70-30 thing, because when you talk in broad terms, you can always pull out your one little data point, your 5 little data points, you can support your view and like go move on. But like the trend now is like insane. Like you had Charlie, like Trump was twice tried to assassinated. Those 2 Jewish, they weren't like diplomats, but they were
they worked for
And
the,
the
they
embassy.
worked for the
yeah.
embassy.
Yeah.
They were killed. Luigi. You had like multiple trans shooters now in the schools, like recently. The Minnesota assembly shooting. Like, there's a fucking trend right now, and it's like all left wing violence right now. It's scary. It's very bad. And the other reason this sucks is that like, okay, there's a bunch of reasons why the Charlie thing is like very disturbing for people who like might not know why they should care about this, right? I think a lot of people who are not seeped into political culture like very deeply, they think, oh, left, right, blue, red. But there's actually like a lot more nuance than that. Like on the right in particular, there are a bunch of different warring factions, right? And if you put Charlie overall on the political spectrum, first of all, he's like center right, maybe. He's not actually that right wing. He's mocked in a lot of right wing culture for being like vanilla, conservative ink, like kind of like, oh, like he's not like right wing, right? He's probably 2% to the right of like me, right? And that's scary, because if that guy is worthy of getting shot, then I'm worthy of getting shot, and probably like 50, 60 million people in this country are worthy of getting shot, like if our views are so abhorrent. So that's terrifying. The other thing that's like really terrifying to me is that on both sides of the political aisle right now, but like especially on the right, because I feel like the left is gone at this point, honestly. Like I feel like the left has actually just been co-opted by the far left at this point, and whether or not people see that yet, that is the case. Like you're about to have like a literal socialist mayor of the city of New York, and the next presidential candidate I don't think is going to be Gavin Newsom. It's probably going to be AOC, right? So like the left is very far gone. I don't think people see that yet. On the right, there's still very much this like battle, and like it's almost like a tripod, right? It's almost like Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes. Right. So there's like all these kind of warring things going at it. And Charlie would have been like a great Alfalfa community member. Because although Charlie is to the right, and I think most of our Discord is probably to the left, like I think most of our Discord is to the left of me, like we all share this ideal that like we can debate stuff, we can talk about things, we can, and say what you will about Charlie, you might not agree with all of his ideas, like I don't, but like he was willing to just go talk to everybody. And there's this like cartoon version of him where it says like, oh, you debate like dumb college kids and post the clips online. And sure, that's true to some degree, but like Charlie's done like Oxford debates where he just goes and just debates kids at Oxford for like an hour and 45 minutes straight, like uncut. And it does like, so you can't say that he's like constantly just like cherry picking, but regardless, like he represented a part of the right that was like, we can change minds. We can talk to people. We can reconcile differences. There is a growing part of the right that is like, these people hate us. They're irredeemable. They want to kill us. We can't talk to them. We can't change minds. The only answer is separation or violence.
And this is only going to edify that narrative.
Yes, this makes the sort of, I don't know if you call it like the, maybe you call it like the Fuentes ring. That's probably like a little too oversimplified, but like those people are stronger now because they're like, see, can't talk to these people. They're like basically animals. They just want to kill you. Like we can't coexist together. You know, this idea that there's left and right, like Just Mike in our Discord has always been very fond of like posting this meme where it's like the elite guy in the top hat in the aquarium, and there's the left and the right guy like fighting with each other, and he's like smoking. He's like, they got you fighting a class war, not realizing it's like it's an economic war. And like that meme, I think has been true for most of the last 30, 40, 50, I don't know, however long time it's been, right? Because the Democrat and the Republican Party, especially pre-Trump, were just bought and paid for by the same fucking people, right? You just like Jamie Dimon just buys a candidate on each side. It's all an illusion, right?
Right.
The modern left and the modern right, when you go to the extremes, do not fit into that thing anymore. There's not like a elite type figure buying the modern left and like pitting the, like this
You're
is
saying
like
there's multiple figures. There's multiple rich polarities pulling in different directions.
But when you go like full social, like when you're just like, yes, I want communism. That's not like some elite behind the screen.
Yeah,
That's
what
not
rich
Jamie-
person's gonna
It's
be?
not Jamie Dimon.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because underlying both of the modern left and right, and like if you listen to like a Hassan Piker or somebody on the left bitch about the Democrat Party, he's going to be bitching that they're like capitalist and controlled by like elites and money and stuff, right? Which is the same thing. Obviously, that's the case on the right, so it's same, right? Everybody's bought and paid for. Once you go full communist, like you're trying to burn the system down. There's not some game being played. You just like don't like the West. You think the West is evil. You think capitalism is bad. You think this whole litany of other ideas. You're fighting an entirely different war now. Like this is not like you're all in this like aquarium fighting each other. Like this is a different game being played. And like you're starting to see this like with like Mamdani, and that's going to get like, I mean, you initially started to see it right with like the Seattle Social City Council, right? But then it's bigger and bigger. Then it's going to be the mayor of New York. Then you might have like a governor, and then you might have like a president at some point, maybe next time. And that's a big deal. So the idea that the guy who was kind of vanilla right wing and wanted to talk to people got fucking shot in the neck, and people are grave dancing on him. What do you think they think of like you and like basically 35% of the country? like that's fucked. Like how do you recover from that? That was the
That's like your overwhelming sentiment.
yeah, like if you're left wing and you're like, just Republicans, Charlie Kirk should have been like, at least he wanted to talk to you. At least he had ideas. At least he would talk, like, because there are Republicans who are just like Nick Fuentes is just straight up like, I don't want to live around black people, and I think we got to deport everybody. Like, just straight up says stuff like that, you know. And like, honestly, he's looking better and better as time goes on, and everything validates like his fucking views, because as the world gets like more extreme, like the positions he staked out like years ago are just becoming like the norm now, which is like the other scary thing. It's just like, okay, that's where everything is going now. And I wonder, like, how do you come back from that? Like, how do you, because there's this like in the and I've been like very black-pilled this week, unfortunately. I see people like Tom and Mike, they're just posting all these things like, I just want like people to understand that like we all believe the same thing, we all should come together. I don't think that's true anymore. Like, I don't actually think we believe all the same thing. Like, I think there's like a giant swath of people among us who don't buy into stuff like a lot of us buy into, like on a very deep fundamental level, to the point that they're willing to like shoot you or stab you in the neck. And then like, what do you do?
I don't feel like it's like my time to chime in, but I feel like I do have a response to that.
Go.
My response is that what you're describing exists online. When you go out into the world, like I told you guys, I don't know who this guy is. Rest in peace. I don't follow political news, but I go out into the world, and when I like see people in the world, they're good to each other. Like, everybody in the world is like way less severe than they are online, and everyone's like getting along okay. And I don't want to like have this example like cloud everybody's judgment that like everybody hates each other. Like, I go out in the world and everything's like okay.
Okay, I have a.
I kind of disagree.
Okay.
Love and maybe it's because, for example, I really haven't posted much on my personal page about politics lately, just because I have gotten in the past so much backlash. Even today, when I talked about when I met Charlie Kirk and my professional relationship with him, I had people message me, well, why are you talking about him and not this other shooting that happened in Colorado? And I responded like, well, I knew him on a professional level. I've interviewed him many times. I've spoken at one of his events. And two, I'm not disregarding that. But I've had people in the past cancel me. I've had my own friends, people that I've known since middle school, say, oh, you voted for this person or you don't support this. I don't want to talk to you anymore. You're out of my life. And then I respond saying, you know what? I'm sorry you feel that way. Like, I honestly wish you the best of luck in life, because you're going to have disagreements with people. I feel as though we lost that in today's society. I really feel as though the fact that you have people canceling one another just because over who they voted for or because they have a certain viewpoint, at the end of the day, I know I'm a good person. Like with Charlie Kirk, I didn't agree with everything that he said, but at the same time, I'm willing to hear out people's arguments. But I feel as though there's so many people that are just living in this echo chamber, and it's sad because we live in the United States of America. Our First Amendment and the Bill of Rights, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. I feel as though right now we're like living in like communist, the USSR. We're living in Russia. Like, it's like, oh, okay, you cannot have a civil conversation with someone. That's what Charlie Kirk did so well. He was willing to debate anyone on anything, and they might still hold true to their ground, but at the end of the day, he was willing to listen to the other side or the other viewpoint. And he was always respectful, at least like what I've seen. He was always respectful. I've seen that in like during professional events and all sorts. But I think today is a very sad day in America, because you have people that are saying, like I said, I go on Reddit a lot. People after Trump was elected, I don't want to date I don't want to be married to my husband anymore. Should I get a divorce? I don't want to have sex with my boyfriend anymore. I mean, this is just ridiculous. This is insane. How is it? Can we agree to disagree? Can we just say, you know what? let's agree to disagree and let's move on. Let's not get this in the way of our friendship.
Yeah.
And I think we've lost that.
I mean, it's funny because maybe you and I are a little similar in that we're not like our strongest views. We're not posting them on online. We're maybe not even saying them on this podcast. Like we're whether it's like indifference on one topic or just like the risk reward of expressing those views is not worth it, right? And you know, maybe that's a form of what you're talking about showing is that like I probably don't feel comfortable talking about most things. Not that anyone cares what I have to say, but just like there could be this possibility of like
Right.
someone I work with or an employee or, you know, a family member. And you just like, you know, they may not be nice anymore. Everyone is nice now because I don't speak my mind.
No, I think that's exactly
Yeah.
it. Like in this world of like being online, you like speed run to the conflict, right? Like you go straight to the point that you disagree on and you like argue with somebody on that point. But in real life, like you meet somebody in the real world and you don't like immediately identify what's your stance on this? What's your stance
Right.
on this? You just like act graciously to each other for the most part.
Okay. I think I've zeroed in on what you're saying. I think it actually ties into the thing I was saying about Charlie, which like hurts me because there is this sort of contingent of people who are like, we can hash this out versus like, no, we're at war, right? And I'm going to make an analogy to you that you definitely understand because you trade options, right?
Yeah.
So you're coming at this from this perspective of like, oh, like the vast majority of people I talk to, they're reasonable, they believe things, they can like talk to, and I actually agree with that. I think you're 100% correct, right? The problem is like a sort of combination of like Nassim Taleb's sort of like tyranny of the minority and what you do every day and like writing options, right? So the problem is that like we've talked about this problem of like the bottom quintile before on the pod, right? Like we don't have laws, we don't have social norms, we don't have all these things for the majority of people. Like actually a lot of the laws, the norms, all this stuff we have is actually to rein in the bottom quintile of society. This like minority of people can actually do quite a bit of damage, right? And if I said if I was investing Eric's money and I was like, Eric, I have this strategy that like 97% of the time doesn't lose you any money. And you're like, well, how much do I make? And you're like, well, you don't make that much, but you don't lose anything, right? Let's call it 99%, right? 99% of the time, nothing bad happens. What's the problem? And then you, as like a guy who's like underwriting volatility and you know the downside, the tail risk is like, well, what happens in the other 1%? And I'm like,
You lose everything.
well, in the 1% you lose everything, but it's not the majority of cases. It's just a tiny fraction of everything. And that is the problem. Like you have this small segment that is like, so this is the Taleb tyranny of the minority thing. The when you have like one vegan at dinner, like it makes sense to make the whole dinner vegan.
You're right.
Right. But then this also extends to kind of like the Ukrainian thing, which is just like I've seen all this debate about like the girl who gets stabbed in the subway, and everybody's just like 98% of the black, 99%, whatever percentage of black people you sit in front of on like a subway, they're not going to hurt you. But the problem is, in the one scenario where you're wrong, you lose everything. So you can't like evaluate things on a majority minority thing. Like you have to take into account the tail risk, the expected value. If the downside of some tiny minority of things is so catastrophic that you lose everything, you can't analyze it through the frame of like the vast majority of people I meet do this. Like it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, in the fringes, I kind of feel that because, like, while I'm not active politically online, like a Charlie Kirk event, I would be curious enough to go. Like, I would just want to see what type of people are there, what happens, what does he say, even like larger events. But I know my wife's like, is it a big political event? Is it at all political? Big? I don't want to go because of the 1%
tail
chance that
risk.
like something could go wrong, and so I kind of feel it at the edges. You know, like.
But
Impacting your lifestyle.
I agree.
Is
I mean,
it a hard thing to get over? No, but it kind of happens, right?
But I feel like that tail risk exists on both sides of the aisle. We're like focusing on the left because they're in the crosshairs right now. You know, like on this trend that you're describing, like it's a trend. Like I'm not going to dispute the data, but I think that it's a societal impact. It's not like a left versus right. Like if the left was in power right now, I think the right would be the one with like the data supporting.
Assassinating people, debating on college campuses.
Sure.
I think there's no example of that you could point me to. Like
No,
zero,
I'm
though.
talking about a hypothetical. Like if the left was in power, then we'd be just dealing with a different paradigm.
What is the last right-wing, politically motivated assassination attempt you can think of?
I am not going to be able to like pull up anything on politics for you because I don't watch. I don't care.
I mean, this would be a good ChatGPT question. But like off the top of my head right now, we got Charlie Kirk, we got 2 Trump assassinations, we got Minnesota lawmaker, we got the Jewish people, we had the Bernie Sanders guy who shot up Steve Scalise.
Do you think this is only a left phenomenon?
Yes, I think it is an overwhelming. I think the left right now is overwhelmingly violent, but I also realize there is a contingent of the right that is also violent that has been kept at bay. But this is going to awaken them.
But it's exactly what I'm saying too. It's like they've been kept at bay because of the environment. Like they're in power right now, so they're
they haven't been kept at bay because they're not in power. They've been kept at bay because nobody's shot up like a critical amount of their people. Like during like Obama, like it's not like you saw people running around like assassinating random like leftists debating on college campuses. Like that just wasn't a thing. Like during Obama, you saw I think Steve Scalise got shot during Obama.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Like there's a Bernie Sanders supporter who shot Steve Scalise during a fucking like softball game because he was against universal health care.
Yeah, but it's getting worse through time as well.
For sure.
Let's see. June 2025, known political conservative and religious individual carried out a series of targeted shootings, assassinated state representative Melissa Hortman, a Democrat, shot and wounded a state senator John Hoffman and his wife separately. The shootings were politically motivated and described as politically targeted violence.
Like,
so
that's
one case.
Yeah, I don't even like this.
Fair.
I don't even like this like tit for tat. Like they did this and then we did it. Like I think it's all that's all the problem is to say like this side is evil, so then we now like use that as ammo for our side. Like people are going to use this politically as ammo to be like, no, the right's so good because Charlie Kirk died and look how bad they are. Like that's fucking awful. It's awful that we're going to politicize this. It's awful that like we have this like left versus right fight that is so severe and it's only going to get more severe. So like you're saying what happened in the past. I don't even care what happened in the past. What's going to happen in the future? It's going to intensify on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I point to the past in so far as to say that like I predicted this would happen because I'm just following data. And although like Carby can like point out like one incident where this happened, like much like this is my entire career, right? Like I do stuff and I assess probability, like what is more likely, this to happen or that. Like if you were to tell me there's been like a politically motivated assassination over the last 10 years and I had to bet on it, like I would make a lot of fucking money saying that like I was betting on the left person with the fucking gun.
I agree.
Right?
No, I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying that the probability is increasing both ways. It's increasing on both sides, maybe accelerating more on the left right now. But it's like it's getting worse. Period.
No, like the problem now is getting worse on the right. Like people are mad now. I think the right has largely been like largely nonviolent, like assessment on the largely, like it's not zero.
I think Eric's point is like the fear is
that
that like people use it as like, okay, well, we're clearly better than, and then another segment of them saying, you're right, they're animals. We can't talk to them. They don't even want to talk to someone who's openly talking. And I don't know.
It just makes everything worse.
Well, let's get off the violence thing where it's like this. Like
Okay.
I think the thing where the distinction is clearly is more distinct in my brain is like the dehumanization thing. Like if you could look at the language that the left talks about the right online and the right talks about the left, like you have to make a really fucking strong case that the left is not dehumanizing the right, right? Like everybody's a fucking Nazi, everybody's fucking racist, everybody's like gonna cause you to die. Like the rhetoric has been so goddamn extreme for a long time. Like Hassan Piker, who's like a very popular left-wing kind of like commentator, literally called for the assassination of Nick Fuentes yesterday on stream. And then like Charlie Kirk gets shot like today. Like and everybody's experienced this. Like everybody who's listened to this podcast for the last 3 years knows that like the you're a racist, you're an anti-vax, you're this, you're this, you're this. Like everything is thrown at you. You're a fucking fascist. They're like over and over and over and over again. It's just like at a certain point in time, you see what we talked about like a few weeks ago with the Gen Z men, where they're like, initially it was like, oh my God, I'm not a racist. And but then like over time, people go like, I don't care. Like I'm in the segment where it's just like, yeah, I don't care. Like I'm firmly in the I don't care what you think segment, right? But then the generation after me is like, yeah, I'm a racist. I actually think that we are better than you. I think that you are a drag on society. Like, so now you go full spectrum where they just embrace the term.
I mean, Tom Nom Nom in the chat asks, the right doesn't humanize the left. I think that was pointed at you.
I think the right is far more humanizing of the left than the left is humanizing of the right. I say this as somebody who spent a lot of time on the left, a lot of time on the right. If I ask most people on the right to sort of like steelman a left argument, they can do it pretty well. If I talk to people on the right, on the left, and ask them the steelman right arguments, like the responses are fucking cartoonish at times. Like they literally think people on the right wing are fucking bad people who deserve to die, and people on the right think people on the left are dumb. Like that's like that's like the top down sort of broad conclusion I have to draw. That's obviously not correct in most cases, but like one side thinks the other side is stupid. The other side thinks the other side is legitimately bad people and they deserve to die.
So I got a question for you, Stephanie. First of all, they were worried that we scared you away already when you briefly left. But
Probably just needed a drink or something.
yeah. but what about you know, the fact that if you look over the last 3 years, you could probably accurately say the left has been more tolerant of breaking law and order than the other side. So whether you look at, you know, 2020 BLM riots and allowing them, even favoring them to get out of control, whether or not they're violent, just like destroying property, and that trend continuing, like how much do you think that has led up to this point, or just towards the argument that the left has become more violent, and it maybe started with being okay with violent protests and kind of general anarchy?
So when you told me that, the first thing that I thought of was the LA riots back in June. And there was
Wow,
this
almost forgot about
I know,
this.
right?
Yeah, wow.
I know, it's
feel
time.
like it's
So
weird.
It's a quaint memory of
Time,
a distant past.
Yeah, time. It feels like it happened yesterday, but at the same time, a million years ago. I mean, we're just kind of living all over the place in our brains. But to that point, so I remember, like I said, I love going on Reddit, just seeing, like I said, other people's perspectives, hearing the other side, etc. And I also love visiting like my favorite subreddits, like figure skating, etc. Anyway, I get off topic, but I remember on the popular page there was this man, the LA riots. He was on a motorcycle and he was carrying a Mexican flag, and the top comment was, damn, this would have been so much more effective if he was carrying an American flag to show that, oh, these immigrants, they're Americans and the National Guard doesn't need to be here. That sort of language, in a sense.
It's a great thing you bring up, because we talked about that on one of our podcast episodes.
It almost felt too on the nose. It almost felt like it was like controlled opposition.
Right? And it was just, and it's just so, you know, being in the media, part of the media, to see the evolution, especially since I started in the media during the Obama administration, and seeing the evolution of how people have become more and more politically outspoken, which obviously they're allowed to do. You know, I support, again, we live in the United States of America, First Amendment, right, freedom of speech, all for that. But when you have, again, like you said, this violence, and people, I feel as though in a sense, some people are trying to get validation from, like in the BLM protests, you had people being like, oh, look, like I hold, you know, the black square thing. I remember even then I was thinking, should I post something like that? But, you know, it was just like the facts weren't coming in, and you know, it's just, there's all this pressure, I feel as though, to conform. And if you don't conform, you are a bad person, and this, that, and the other. I think it's just been wild to see. And you don't have to agree with everything that your political party stands for. But I think if you tell someone, oh, I'm a Republican, they're automatically, kind of to your point, Stephen, they're going to be like, you're a fascist, you're a racist, this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, wait, like maybe look in your own closet and see sort of what skeletons.
You've touched on something that I feel so strongly about.
Speak.
Yeah,
brother.
I know, you gotta tell
Preach.
us.
Okay, so what I love what you just said there. What I found so weird, right? As somebody who doesn't watch this stuff, I don't follow this stuff. I find it so weird how people spend so much energy and time on politics, which, as I understand politics, are just setting the rules for society. Everyone's just cares so much about the rules, and I'm like, why? But then you brought up this point, Stephanie. You said like they're deriving their identity from how they define themselves on this political spectrum, and that's what's happening here. It's like it's not even about politics anymore. Politics is the rules of society. We're not talking about that anymore. We're talking about identity. We're talking about like your values. You're talking about like, you know, what do you believe in? And like I feel like people are missing the point a little bit, because you got to derive your value from something other than like what this dogma says or whatever. Like people are so lost, man. It's like it's wild for a guy like me to see what's happening right now.
Well, I mean, go ahead, Stephanie.
Oh no, I was going to say, Eric, to your point, you know, it reminds me, and I was talking to Stephen about this earlier, the whole Kony 2012 thing. Do you guys remember that on Facebook?
I do.
Okay,
was it?
Tell the people.
Kony?
Oh my!
Tell
like,
the people.
The guy started masturbating in the in Pacific Beach. that was Kony. That was the Kony guy.
Was it?
That was the Kony guy.
Oh wait, I did hear something about, but he was the child slavery advocate.
It was
advocating.
like in Somalia or something.
Yes, like somewhere in Africa. I don't
A
know
lot of
what
layers
country
to
in
this.
Africa.
A lot of layers to this.
Okay,
story.
so fast forward.
Can we
Anyone
un-
looking
can we
at
unpack
I
everything?
feel like, Eric, I feel like you will have a better story.
Please
like,
unpack everything
I
for
just
the
remember
uninformed.
I would post like Kony 2012 excuse me, and I would do it like because everyone else was doing it, and I watched some 15-minute YouTube video. I was like, yeah, Kony 2012. Everyone else was doing it, and I was like, I don't want to feel out of the loop, or like I want to feel cool and validated.
So please,
by
like,
my
guys who
peers.
doesn't get into
Yeah,
politics,
exactly.
please
No.
educate us.
I'm so glad you brought this one up, because this is like a. Okay, so Kony 2012 was like this, like it was like Ukrainian flags on your social media. It was like this like viral thing that happened that was like giving support to some people in Africa for some reason. But it turned out that guy was from San Diego, and he ended up naked, fully greased up in Pacific Beach, just like on a weird mental trip. And he actually made it into South Park too.
Oh, did he?
Wait, what
Yeah.
was he doing? He was like, was he stealing funds or just a meme gone wrong? Like,
No, did he have a breakdown or
He
like?
well, I just think he had like a momentary lapse, but it's a great example of what you're bringing up of like, I need to believe in the current thing, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think, I think we're seeing that a lot in today's college campuses, for example, which is why I think Charlie Kirk was so effective in his messaging. I remember I have an older brother. He told me, Stephanie, whatever you do, do not take political science in college. He also told me not to take Friday classes, and of course, I didn't listen to him on anything. But
Wise man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to, yeah, exactly. I was
Typical
like, oh,
woman.
whatever. Exactly. I was like, oh, whatever. It's my
Sorry.
brother. Like, yeah.
Can help myself.
I don't get offended. You know me. I don't get offended at all because
I'm joking. I'm joking. It's a joke.
No,
Un chiste.
I should have listened. Obviously hindsight 2020. I'm like, why didn't I listen to him? So anyway, but I had to take some political science classes for my minor, which was in international relations, international studies, and the inherent but you have to. So for example, you go to this. You're going to a lecture of this professor, and then you sometimes I don't know about Eric. Did you go to San Diego State? You went to San Diego State.
Aztec for life, baby.
Yeah, Aztec for life. So some of the classes they had sort of those, what do you call it? Like almost discussion classes where you meet with like a smaller group of kids. Anyway, long story short, but you have to buy a book that your professor is teaching that they wrote the book.
Right. Money
And
grab.
it's just, yeah, exactly. And it was just,
That's so true.
it's so embarrassing to think of like what I believed in back then. And even my brother was like, I'm going to hold this against you in 5 years, 10 years. from
Arman
now.
and I have some good stories about our liberal college days.
Oh,
Oh
me
my-
too. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
But
Cringe.
can I piggyback off something Eric said? So you really said like, oh, this is just the fringes. In real life, this doesn't happen. But I think what you do well is you ignore most of it. Like you don't allow it to like permeate your mood, your day-to-day life, and you're pretty good at one, not letting it get in, and then if it does, not letting it get to you. So I guess I have a question for both of you because Stephen and Stephanie, you were more enveloped in political discourse, and today I had a little bit of it on accident. I wasn't really on my phone, wasn't my laptop, didn't hear any of it. Day was going smooth. Got back, seemed like a little mayhem. But is it better off to just be, a little naive about this stuff, or just indifferent, if anything, and ignore it? Like, you both mentioned you were distraught today, and for good
Yeah.
reason, right?
Yeah.
But have you ever looked back on either your career or just your, passion for politics and said, man, maybe life would be a little smoother for me personally, emotionally, if I just didn't get involved? Not saying I believe this, but I'm just curious. Like, have you ever questioned, man, I'm kind of in this thing that is meant to twist. It's almost like it feels like it's created to twist you into knots. And yeah, what do you think?
I'll go first. 100%. I think that's the case. It's why I've been refraining from my personal Instagram page of not posting anything political. Even I have like my little news page, but in a Substack, and I've just been burnt out. I've been burnt out. It's just, having done this for over a decade now. Sometimes I wish I were more naive. I think today, for me personally, since I knew Charlie,
Right.
and it was just, I was just in such disbelief and thinking what could happen. But honestly, for mental health reasons, I could really use a vacation right now. Absolutely. And I think, I don't disregard, or I don't look down or condemn anyone who doesn't want to get involved in politics, because I completely understand. I'll say, you know what? Like, if they ask me, hey, I don't know anything about this, can you educate me? I would say absolutely. But if you don't want to hear it, I completely understand, because there are times where I just want to shut off my brain completely. There are times where I've had like weird, people sending me different threats because of my political views, and I'm like, you know what? Sometimes it's just better to be naive. And that doesn't have anything to do with intellect at all. It just has to do with focusing on yourself, what matters to you, whether it's your family, your wife, for example.
Right.
You just want to, but this was obviously a huge story of the day. But anyway, so to go back to your point, like, I absolutely think, as far as if you want to keep your mental health in check, I'm not going to condemn or look down upon anyone who says, oh, I just don't want to hear it, because I completely understand. And I need a break from it too.
And maybe before you comment, Stephen, I think if people take that opt-out approach, it also comes with responsibility to, like, if a topic comes up that you all of a sudden care about, like, you have to realize you've opted out this whole time. You maybe not know every detail about it. You don't know the context. You may not know all the facts. Like, I don't know if you can opt out and be very opinionated at the same time. Yeah, my 2 cents. But I'm curious, Stephen, what you think about, would it be better if you just, I don't know.
Can I chime in real
Please.
quickly?
Yeah.
I think, it's fine to say, listen, we had a discussion about this before. I was like, you know what? Like, I didn't see it from your perspective, or maybe I'm not as educated as you are in this. Let me know your thoughts. I think we have a real ego problem in society today, and it's okay to admit that you're not as knowledgeable in something, and you can say, listen, like, it's okay to say, listen, I'm not really sure what this means or how this affects me. It's totally fine. I think we have become too much of like, oh, you don't know about this? How dare you? Almost villainizing the other person. But you know what? At the end of the day, if that person, like I said, if they want to choose to ignore it, they obviously like have a reason, or they want to for whatever reason, or maybe it just hasn't come up in their life, and I don't blame them.
So, your question was initially about, like, is it sort of like GTO to even care?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And the answer is no, but like it becomes plus EV to care under certain circumstances, I think, right? So the more your life is basically that of a house gnat, the less it matters. Like, you're just dead 24 hours from now, nothing matters, right? But in a future world where you're going to live for like 700 years maybe, then like like shit can happen to you, and you may face the consequences of your own inaction on a particular timeline in a way that doesn't happen right now. And I would agree that right now Eric is living the GTO life and sort of like not caring. But like people like me, for some reason at a very young age, like want to like stick their hand in a wood chipper. I don't know why that's the case, but you're just like, let me stick my hand in this wood chipper.
It's GTO,
Let me
baby.
I'm touching the hot stove.
Yeah,
let me
right
touch the
now.
hot stove. Let me put my right leg on this third rail. You know, let
You
me
have
just
all
like
of your limbs, luckily. Yeah.
let me just see what happens. And I don't know where that comes from. I think like certain humans are just born with something to make them like run off the cliff and hope that they land somewhere, because that's just like how the species moves. And if everybody did that, everybody would be dead instantly. And if nobody did that, everybody would be dead eventually. But if like a certain basic percentage of the population jumps off the cliff, like a few of those lemmings discover something, and then like everybody else gets to reap the benefits of their probable stupidity, right?
Right.
It's not logical to do this, but like I would also argue, like if you frame this from like a turnings perspective, we talk about the turnings a lot on this podcast. We've been talking about this as a fourth turning podcast for a while. And that is like the overarching theme of this podcast, because it really unites the fucking finance and the tech and the politics that we talk about. It's all falls under this umbrella of like, holy God, like shit is going down right now. And we're going down one of two paths, and they're very different from the way the world looks right now. And from a politics perspective, it actually makes sense to be indifferent in the first turning. Everything's chill, you won, it's just like great. And then there's like a second turning where it's just like, people are rising up, but like whatever, still doesn't matter. And then the third turning, I think it's just sort of like nihilistic abundance or some shit. And again, it doesn't matter. But in the fourth turning, like you best care, because you're gonna wake up one day and people decide like, actually, we're into communism now, and Nick, your business is over. You are now appropriated by the state, right? Like this shit happens very quickly. And actually, for like 75% of the life cycle of like a generation, it actually doesn't matter. It actually makes sense to not care. But then there's this window where like, actually, if you weren't paying attention, by the way, all of your wealth is now belong to us, and goodbye, right? And like I would argue that we're at one of these points now, like you really should care. And even in this point, right, like if you're wealthy and you could be isolated, you could be wealth isolated, you could be geographically isolated, and in that sense, like you're just kind of like the billionaires building bunkers out in Montana or some shit. Like, yeah, they don't care, they're isolating themselves. This is what billionaires do. They're like, I need to isolate physically, right? So if you are already that, then yeah, it doesn't matter, it's not logical. But like if you live in like the middle of like a major metropolitan area, and you don't think like the consequences are like coming for you, like if you're on the wrong side of this shit at some point in the next like 4 to 10 years, call it, like I think you're tripping. I think something's coming down the road.
What do you think about that, Eric? I
Yeah, if I can respond, I think we're convoluting two things into one. When I say that I'm not aware of political news, what I'm talking about is the cultural aspect of it, which is like the pageantry surrounding individuals and what they believe or whatever. But I am very up to speed, probably more than most, not more than you guys, but more than most, on like the laws, like the rules, and what side of these rules I stand on, and I can vote for those things accordingly with a sound mind and a knowledgeable base. I think when you combine those things, you're doing a disservice, because like I don't care necessarily what somebody else believes. I can talk about an issue and I can know where I stand on it and vote for that.
Okay, wait.
But I
To
feel like
talk
we've
about
all
this
saw
more
it.
tangibly for Eric, I think there's a point coming up in the next 4 to 8 years where like a critical mass of the population might quite literally vote themselves all of your wealth away.
Yeah.
And you'll wake up and be like, wait, what? And then you'll realize, wait, I have a house that's anchored here. My money's majority in like a brokerage account, which is basically a bank account, custodied over here. And then like there's nothing I can do about it, right?
No, there's something I can do about it. Like what we do is we have a podcast where we can influence other people, and I have a vote where I can cast my vote for whatever I believe, and that's what anyone can do.
Wait, but correct me if I'm wrong. Like I thought you were saying like I don't think it's optimal to care. I think it's optimal for me to like chill out.
I'm
and be
saying
with my
that
kid
I'm
and-
saying that I do care. I just don't care about the pageantry that you guys believe is the thing.
Wait, what is the pageantry?
I believe the pageantry in my mind is like following political news on what this guy said or what this guy said or what this guy believes. This far right niche, this far left niche, whatever it is. It's like I believe what I believe on the policies, and I will vote according to that, and I will try to influence people around me based on like what's smart about that, and I'll do what I can. What I can do is I'm with you guys on this podcast. I have a vote like anybody else. What else can I do? That's what I can do.
You can influence the opinions of people around you in advance of the thing, as opposed to being like, "Oh, this is up for a vote now. I guess I'll vote." But the popular opinion
I'm
is already
here with you
shifted
every
so
week,
much.
dude. I'm doing that exactly that.
Well, you're trying to occupy two things now because like you've
No,
mostly been
dude,
like, I
no.
don't care, whatever. Why should
no,
I even care?
you're convoluting it again.
I wanna
That's the
chi-
problem.
I want to chime in here because it takes me back to 2016 where everyone thought that a lot of people didn't vote because they thought, oh, Hillary's gonna win. Everyone thought that. All the polls even show that and then later it showed the only poll that didn't show that was a USC LA Times poll, which consistently showed that Trump would win the 2016 election, and he did. And it kind of brings me back to that point where I mean, what do you? I guess my question is because you have that certain population that's like, oh, I'm not gonna. You all of a sudden had this huge rise. You had the women's march and all that, which I feel like I shouldn't say that. Okay, I was in Park City, Utah when the women's march was happening. It was awful. It was blizzard because they shut down all the bus
Awful
routes.
because of the weather,
Yeah,
or
To clarify for the live, I was like, wow, I can't wait to hear the
I
second part of
love
this thing.
Park City.
No, I did not go to it. But like it was during Sundance, and then
Marty's furiously hitting the like button.
I ended up like my cousin and I. We ended up having to walk 2 miles to try and like go to a bar or like go snowboarding or something because they closed down all the bus routes because of the women's march and the women's protest against Trump's inauguration and everything. And I guess I just want to get your thoughts on like what do you think? Do you still think? I mean, I guess what did you think in 2016 compared to now? I guess.
Oh, I thought Hillary was going to win for sure.
Yeah.
But I just want to frame it so simply that anyone can understand. The game theory optimized way to approach this is to understand every policy to the degree that you are certain about your vote, and then you exercise whatever control you have to make that happen, and no more. And that's game theory optimized.
Okay, can I respond to that? Because I used to think that like so on point with you. Like I even was like, I want to start writing and I'm going to call it policy, not politics. Because like all I really care about is like reading foreign affairs, hearing different foreign policy things, and then like just arguing about the policy. But then I realized it was a little naive because like the politics, the definition of it is that the process of making decisions. And it turns out that all these like incentives that politicians have, whether it is to get reelected, to get money, to influence this committee, to influence who's in this position, all of those like micro incentives and the thing we hate about politics, the backstabbing, the deal making on the side, like it actually is required to make policy happen, whether it's good policy or bad policy. And so I wish it were that simple, that you could just argue about the policy and the best argument wins.
I agree with you.
Okay.
But what are you going to do about it? You're going to vote or you're going to influence people around you? And that's all you can do. You, Nick or Bonnie, can't do anything more.
Yes, but you're making those two things sound like they're the same. Voting and influencing the people around you are like a 1 versus like 99 kind of effort thing, right? Like voting, if all you do is vote, like you've already lost basically. Like you're clinging on to a little thing, but like you basically lost. And like the market has decided this, by the way, right? Like if you look at what the market has sort of decided, the market has like realized that like media wins elections, right? Who's winning elections? Trump, the biggest media guy of all time. Gavin Newsom has realized that. He's becoming a media guy. So this idea that like by the time you get to the voting booth, if you haven't done anything, you've already lost. Like the market has realized that. Media is very important. And it's important because it has these like compounding geometric benefits, right? Like if only 1,000 people listen to what I say over the course of 3 years and are like, oh my God, I've changed my mind. so much. And they don't have 1,000 people who listen to them, but maybe on average they have like 20. And then those 20 people each have like one, right? Then like me by myself just
these
doing
are-
this
these
dumb
are-
fuck podcast, 50,000
Domino
people.
effect.
So
These
Right?
are these are two different things, though. By the way, like understanding what Nick Fuentes believes is different from what I believe, and like having a sphere of influence on what I believe is independent of what Nick Fuentes believes. I don't need to care about Nick
But
Fuentes.
what are you prescribing that you should do? Are you prescribing you should just go to your life and just vote? Or are you prescribing you should actively try to
No, I'm
change
saying
people's
that
minds?
by following the pageantry, in quotes, you asked me what that was. That's following every part of the political spectrum is a waste of your time. It's not GTO. GTO is understanding what you believe, voting for it, and influencing towards that vote.
Let me ask you this. Like, let's say someone brings up a piece of the news. Do you ever try to change their opinion, or do you, I guess, engage in debate about it? Like, imagine it's within your circle of 20 friends that you might influence. And it might depend on the topic, I'd imagine. Like,
Yeah, I'm like unlikely to want to engage. I feel like I'm pretty good on what I believe. I was doing some research on hopefully a potential topic that we talk about today that I'm like excited about. That is kind of new for me. So yeah, I'll like find things, but it doesn't necessarily. It's not a catalyst of like somebody talk to me and now I have to like open my mind.
yeah,
up.
like Steven's a persuader. Like, if you enter the topic with Steven, like, he's going to have an opinion, you know, if only to be right, maybe not to necessarily persuade you, but to try to be right.
I like to think I'm mostly a truth seeker.
But I think there's something to be
Sometimes.
said that you mentioned. Like,
sometimes a truth
Mostly
seeker.
is a keyword,
All
right?
right, let's go sometimes.
maybe it is just like
Usually.
trying to influence your closest 20, because I think I told you guys a couple episodes ago, I played golf with Rand Paul, and I'm like sitting in the golf cart with him.
Wait, you play
Wait,
golf
wait,
with Rand
send them
Paul?
to Rand Paul?
Yeah, and
You
like
didn't tell me this.
I thought I told you this. Like, on the
No.
pod.
Where?
In San Diego, he was here, and they were
What's
like,
hilarious
"Hey,
is it's probably on video, and I'm like, cool.
Senator's here. You want to play golf? We're gonna get together a group of 8. He's gonna spend the first 9 with the 3, and then the second 9 with the other 3." And I was like, "Okay." So
Did you,
him and I
did
were in
you
the golf
tell
cart.
him that Ron Paul is the greatest human that's ever lived?
No.
You should have.
We talked about the Constitution naturally.
Nick
I-
wants ranked choice voting, and,
and I talked about like, is funding your politicians actually free speech? Anyway,
I love his
Wait, what
Festivus
did he
report
say?
comes out with every
he was
year.
like, it's free speech, and the Constitution says it's free speech, so we have to protect it. I agree with you that, like, the biggest funders in the world control the policy, not the voters, and we had a whole discussion topic about it. But anyway, at one point I asked him, "What are you doing, dude? Like, you're spending 4.5 hours, with like 7 people. How is this going to like? This doesn't seem like a very
Wait,
efficient
you
use
played
of-
golf with Rand Paul, and you were like, why are you playing golf with me?
100%. 100%. I didn't even.
I would ask the same thing if I were in your position.
I didn't even
so-
guarantee to give him money. They didn't even ask me to give money. Even when I said, "Oh, do we have to like donate money to play
Yeah.
golf with him? Is this how this thing?" They're like, "No, he just wants to get business owners in the community and talk." And his question was like, "Well, maybe if I have a good interaction with you and I convince you of something, you're likely to have, instead of having 20, maybe because you're a business owner, you have like 100 people that you might influence over time." And even then I was like, that's so inefficient, man. Like, you're literally wasting your time. Then part of me was like, he actually just wanted an excuse to play golf in San Diego, which is
Yeah.
probably his real answer. But
it's pretty great.
his point was that, like, you can actually have a pretty big impact if you have a one-on-one interaction and it has like a 20 to 100 person effect.
Wait, I have a very important question. Did you beat him?
We didn't actually keep score, but he did play very well.
Okay.
He birdied like the first hole, and I was like, fuck.
Okay.
How much golf do you play, Senator?
Did you bogey a lot?
Yeah.
I mean, I
was
feel like
just-
I would under
He was he's so calm and chill. Like,
I've interviewed him before, and I've like on Capitol Hill, and
I've met him in his
yeah.
office in DC,
Yeah.
and he
Okay,
was
okay.
he was different. He was different in his
Yeah.
office in the suit.
yeah,
versus,
I'm sure,
like, playing
It's
golf.
kind of like exactly.
He talked about his like ophthalmologist or optometrist.
Yeah, yeah, he's an
his practice
ophthalmologist. Mhm.
ophthalmologist. So he told me about the business.
Ron's a doctor too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was very casual, so easy to get along with. Like, wasn't trying to like poke the bear or like. But if you ask him a question, he'd be like, "All right, let's talk about it." And then in the office, we're all wearing suits, and it was like, "What do you think about this?" And it was definitely more he was more opinionated for sure, and
They get so
hardcore.
That's a
much
great
lore.
story, though.
You're
Yeah.
like a slow drip lore.
Yeah,
You're
what's
like
he gonna
a
say
Zin.
next?
He's like a Zin fact in the upper deck, just dripping out the lore. Arman just chewed the nicotine gum lore. Fast release, gone.
Yeah, Nick's actually Satoshi.
Well,
Wait,
during-
wait, hold up, wait. Oh my God, I just spoke Arman's name, and I realized like I promised him I would read his take on everything
Oh,
over
yeah.
the
You
air,
gotta read his take.
Yeah.
at the risk of throwing us backwards.
you have a better voice than us, so you know Arman speaks in
Should
a
I use my Arman
luxurious
voice?
I know. I was gonna say, yeah.
I don't
I've
know
read
if
multiple
I don't know if I
comments,
can
by the
talk
way.
like
There's
Arman.
so many comments about.
Wait, I want to see the comments.
Oh,
How do I
here,
see
here,
the
here.
comments?
While he's reading that, you can
Ooh.
peruse the comments.
No bad
Yeah,
comments.
read the
on me.
comments. See if we need to
Yay.
respond to anything.
There was one if
Wait,
if
can
you're
someone
single
educate
early
me?
on. I wasn't going to mention it, but
Can
that's up
someone
there.
educate me on what GTO means? Because at
Game
first,
theory optimal.
oh, game theory.
Yeah.
I thought it was like what
Sorry,
I was thinking
nerd
of is like
talk.
Grand Theft Auto, but I'm like, no, that's the wrong.
Somebody wrote Grand Theft Auto.
No, I don't know. The dyslexia in my mind. I was like, I know that's not it, but I just like it just immediately goes there. Okay, so wait, game theory optimal. Game
Yeah.
theory optimal.
Think about it as he's a poker player.
So,
what's the
NPC
best choice? The
non-
maximum best choice at any given
Non-playing
time.
character. You have NPC, which is non-playing character, and then you have GTO, which is game.
Not
theory.
related, I would argue.
Okay,
Yeah, but good job.
whatever. Something to do with games. Okay.
But sorry for the direct
No,
feedback.
you're right. Actually, they're both
But
I
game.
want
they are
more
both okay. They
feedback.
both fall into a loose game umbrella. I will give
And
you
same
that.
with lore. Same with lore.
Also, yeah,
Okay.
We're more gamey than we thought. Plays video
The
games.
audience is going to shred me for that interaction. That's fine.
Stephanie talking about atrocious replies to her. Be on the pragmatic left and experience the replies from the right. I feel like I feel like if there were a meme right now that would describe me, it would be like a confused owl right now.
chills.
I don't know. Oh, this is so interesting. Oh, everyone agrees with me. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, everybody loves me.
All right, I'm going to try to read Armand's thing
Okay.
in my skinny jeans.
Ripped.
I'm
No,
heartbroken.
don't do that, please.
Yeah, just read it.
Because what he
bro.
says is a little get serious, and you're gonna feel silly about halfway through.
Damn it.
Just read.
But
it.
I was going to read it. This is how he would read it.
Just read it.
I'm heartbroken. I cannot believe that in 2025, in America, simply expressing your ideas can get you killed. What a horrific act. I only came across Charlie a few times online. It was clear he was intelligent and driven. I disagreed with many of his ideas, but I cannot fathom how disagreement could ever drive someone to murder. It boggles the mind that people like this exist. I'm sad for his loss. I'm sad for his family. I'm sad for our country. And I'm sad for what this represents for the world. So the question is, what do we do? How should we respond? I don't have all the answers, but I do know this. If we want to avoid falling into chaos, one swift and appropriate action is needed. And it must come from the people who disagreed with him the most, liberals and Democrats. Every left-leaning individual should strongly and unequivocally condemn this act. They should be voices for good, peace, and unity. It doesn't matter how many conservatives speak out, it will all fall on deaf ears. The people who disagreed with Charlie are the ones who must draw the line and say, nothing about this is okay. That means in person, on social media, and in any conversation, standing against anyone who justifies, diminishes, or ignores this event. I've seen posts online today that make me sick. They make me question humanity. They make me question the basic virtues I thought we all shared. The only way to prosper as a people, especially as we enter one of the wildest eras in human history, is to uphold clear morals and standards. Even in war, there are rules. And as human beings, we must establish and defend strong values for what we tolerate as a society. If you're feeling down or discouraged today, know this, you are not alone.
Hell of a speechwriter.
Bravo, Armand.
Thank you, Arman. Your voice has been noted.
I actually queued up because I wanted to actually watch it beforehand. Was AOC's like first reaction on it? I haven't watched it, but
okay.
yeah, but
I haven't
like,
watched it either. Is it gonna make me
and
hate myself?
it's 3 minutes, so I don't know. But what I would what I'm interested to see is if there's like one hint of like, it's terrible, but
That's
it's terrible, but the rhetoric was strong from the other side. Like, if that's what I hear, then like she's not doing what Arman basically recommends. But if it's unequivocal and there's not this like conditional, it's sad.
yeah.
Do you want to play it?
I kind of do.
wanna
I'm
play,
actually
like,
I want to know.
3 minutes of this?
Not the whole 3 minutes, but just let's get
Just-
the first like 60 seconds.
What if I do it on like rapid speed?
That's all.
I'm gonna
People
put it
listen
on.
to this podcast on.
I'll put it on 1.5x. We'll
Okay,
see what
go ahead.
happens. All right, and we're playing.
This afternoon. I mean, I think what has just transpired is tremendously disturbing. It is the latest evolution and instance of political violence in the United States, and it must end.
What message do you have to your fellow lawmakers regarding the political environment?
Pardon?
What message do you have to your fellow lawmakers regarding the political environment and the rhetoric that has been put out in the media?
You know, beyond rhetoric, we need to talk about action, and we need to talk about, yes, there are words, but most importantly, we are in a job of leadership. We are in a job of action. We are in a role and a position where the American people are looking to us to do something about this. And every single day, people are dying due to gun violence in America. And every single day, there are people in this building that continue to vote against doing anything. Like, they vote against universal background checks. They continue to support legislation and also remove any way to block the mentally ill, to block extremists, to block people with histories and records of domestic violence from getting guns in their hands. So are we going to do something about this or not? We have a political assassination that happened at the same time as a school shooting where children are dying on the same day, a week after a shooting at a Catholic school where children were gunned down while praying. Are we going to do something, or are we going to argue over rhetoric? That is my question about this. We have to pass gun safety legislation and stop this.
That's pretty chalk.
I mean, it's pretty standard playbook, you know. I'm curious what you guys think about that.
This shit fucking drives me. Oh, the problem is that like
It's guns.
is guns. It's not that you have like a fucking left-wing apparatus that labels everybody on the fucking right as a goddamn Nazi. That says that like speech is violence. Like this is how the flowchart works. This fucking drives me nuts, right? There's been years of basically being like, speech is violence, speech is violence, speech is violence, speech is violence. You say this enough, the speech becomes like actual violence, and then you become justified in shutting down the speech with violence because you're just countering violence with violence.
You don't think that this left-wing apparatus exists as just an apparatus on all the wings? Like,
No, I do not think
course
there's
it
a right-
does.
Show me any right-wing apparatus that is shutting down speech.
I
dare you. I fucking dare
What do you
you.
think, Steph?
I dare you.
So exactly, what kind of pisses me off at the end of the day, this was okay. So Charlie Kirk, yes, he's an activist. He's a conservative, influential figure in the community. He was also a father, and to two young children, who and I really just commend him for always like shielding them from social media, always hiding their faces. But when I see or hear the fact, I was talking to you about, Al Franken posted earlier today on X saying, I never thought I would say a prayer for Charlie Kirk. And it's like that already, okay, you've already lost essentially all credibility. And, he said like, my condolences. I'm not sure exactly what he said, but it's just sort of, why even mention that first part? If you were truly sincere, don't even say anything at all. I'm just, like I said, I just think it's such a sad day in America, and the fact that we can't have political discourse, we can't agree to disagree. I've disagreed with so many people on things, but it's like, okay, like we're at the end of the day, let's not let this get in the way. But I'm just so infuriated. Like the fact that like he leaves behind two young children. I think they're 4 and 2 or 4 and 1. And his poor wife. It's just, he was only 31. I'm just heartbroken.
Yeah.
I'm heartbroken.
I would have loved to hear more of that than, and from a politician standpoint, if you're trying to gain credibility, become more persuasive, get your point across. I think that actually, that genuine just sentiment, like it's just sad, and that's it.
Oh,
Go ahead. No, please go ahead.
No. I was going to say, and I completely forgot about my point. If you're going to talk about the gun issue, look at, for example, the stabbing of Irina Zarytska. She was stabbed to death. There's a lot of knife stabbings in the UK. It's it's just people are always, if people are violent, if people want to kill someone, they will find a means to do it. They will find a means to do it. Doesn't matter if it's a gun, a bomb, a knife. They will find a means to do it. They truly want to kill someone, and you saw it happen today.
Well, this would be a good place to pivot towards that convo.
Alfalfa gun debate 2.0. Sans Arman.
No. A little different.
No, I think this is a good point to pivot to that event that was also really traumatic. But I think there can be some great conversations that come out of that.
Dude, I was already prepared to have an entire episode about the stabbing of that woman before we.
I'm ready. I'm ready for that too.
And then like today, I was just like, I was already like fucking like losing it after that. And
I think these two topics have a lot of overlap in the Venn diagram.
Tons of overlap. Yeah, I agree.
But I'm like, I'm equally distraught by both because I don't have that same emotional connection you guys have to Charlie Kirk, but I obviously just don't like seeing people dying. But it's made me think a lot about the different elements. I was thinking first about the Ukrainian girl because that's just like what was on our docket. But there are a lot of different angles we can take that, and I don't know which angle is most interesting to you guys, but I don't know.
Do you want to use the tweet you put in the card for
which tweet did I put in
stabbing?
the card?
It's an interesting one. We can put it up on the screen here in a second.
Wait, let me look at the tweet.
It's by Devin Erickson. He says either good people hurt bad people, or bad people hurt good people. These are your two options.
Yeah,
I think it's a good
that's an okay jumping point.
I think it's a good jump off.
All right, I'll read it for you, Steve, and then you can respond and we can talk about it. So, Devin Erickson tweets: either good people hurt bad people.
Hold on. Don't we need to describe what happened? Because some people don't know who Irina Zelensky is, and we need to like give context to this.
Wait,
Sure.
what was her exact name?
Irina Zarytska.
Zarytska.
My bad.
So, guys, what happened? Like, she was on a subway or a bus?
No, here's literally what happened. Irina, this is all on video for anybody who was unfortunate enough to watch this whole thing
specifically
go
not
down.
watch the video, which is why.
Like, I would argue that you should watch the video because I think a lot of people out there just live in fucking denial about the world they currently live in, and it would be good for you to be jolted into fucking reality.
I
at
recommend
some
you
point.
don't.
But choose your own adventure, I guess. Irina sits down on a bus in front of a large black man.
This is in Charlotte.
In Charlotte, and apparently a nice area of Charlotte. She sits down. This man proceeds to look at her, pull a pocket knife or something out, like methodically unfold it, and then get up and then just stab her in the back of the neck.
To death.
And then today, like, horrific new footage was released, and like there's all these screenshots where it's like she doesn't like die instantly. Like there's a point where she's just like obviously stabbed, and she's like looking back at him like
In
shock. But then like the worst thing that happens, honestly, isn't that somehow. It's that you see on video these other people who just get up and walk away as this poor girl is just bleeding out. This guy is dripping in blood, just gets off the bus. Nobody does anything until like a couple minutes later. These two people walk over and try to help her, and then she's just dead. So this girl just got on a bus and got stabbed to death. As the guy got off the bus, like the audio came out. The thing that fucking drove me the craziest about this was like Charlie Kirk, who is now dead, like a day or 2 days ago, was on CNN talking to Van Jones about how this is he's talking about how this is like kind of like a racial incident. And Van Jones is like, why do you have to make this about race?
Fuck, of all people.
And like me, as a person who went through fucking Black Lives Matter, which radicalized the shit out of me, by the way, was just like, oh, it's not about race now? Interesting. Also interesting that when the audio came out, the guy said like, I got that white bitch.
Wait, hold on.
Or I got that white girl. I think I don't quote him, but he was literally like, I got that. Let's say he said, I got that white girl. I got that white girl.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. It's on audio. So to get on fucking CNN and say like, how dare you, Charlie, make this about race? It's always been about fucking race. It's just not about
No.
race when it's about like white people. It's only about race when it's about like black people.
I didn't want to make it about
you know?
race.
No,
God
it's, of
damn
course
it.
it's about race. Like we have to talk about this.
It
This is
didn't
the
have to
thing
be.
that like is breaking through right now. This is like the Nick Fuentes shit that is breaking through right now. Because there's just like one part of like the country that's just like, no, we're just all humans like who want the same thing and we're born equal and like you can't make that. And there's another bunch of people who are like, no, I've been fucking gaslit for like my entire life. Like it's not about race, except it always is, but in one direction. And like everybody's equal except like, are they? And then like, oh, and like you just fucking like driving people crazy. And then like you see this fucking poor like white Ukrainian refugee, a girl who came from fucking war-torn country.
Yeah, and it got worse.
And she went to a nice part of Charlotte and got stabbed to death on a fucking bus. It's fucking maddening. And you honestly, like, I understand why everybody was just like, burn the whole thing down for the last 2 days before Charlie. And then Charlie today, like, it like pushed me over the edge. But like, I'm tired of this shit. And like, honestly, like, for a while in the crypto world, like Stephanie, you don't know this. We have this character, Ryan Selkis, who is perceived as like going off the fucking deep end. He originally went kind of right wing. He became a Trump guy, and then he started talking like all like kind of like white nationalist shit, and people were like, "You're a little too much, Ryan." And now like some of the shit he said, it's like it's starting to kind of age well, honestly. And you're like, maybe that fucking crazy Ryan Selkis guy had some good points. Maybe some of those ideas weren't so bad. And like, this is the thing that scares me is like, I'm being pulled in this direction that like, I would have never thought was a place I wanted to be pulled like 2, 3, 4 years ago. But like, when I look at what like these people over here are saying, and these people are here saying, like, who's making more sense to me now? Van Jones or fucking Nick Fuentes? Nick Fuentes makes more sense than Van Jones. Is there anybody in the middle who's like, sane? Are those my two choices? I have the fucking guy who's like, why are you making this about race after you spent like 3 fucking years on TV talking about BLM and fucking George Floyd? We have fucking candlelight vigil for George Floyd for like every day of like 2020. Like I'm sitting in my apartment locked in. This fucking criminal who committed crimes, was on drugs, OD'd, arrested, no evidence of like a racial thing, dead. We burned down the whole country. And then I see this like innocent Ukrainian woman get on a bus, get stabbed in the neck. 0 mentions in all of mainstream media. 0 for days. And then when there are mentions, all the headlines come out, and the headlines are like, Republicans pounce on murder of white girl to set. It's just like, it's driving me fucking crazy, man. And like, I feel like I'm losing my mind, and I'm like going over the edge, kind of. And like, I don't know. Could you pull me back? Like, am I overreacting? Am I overreacting?
Well, I think everything I said in the previous topic is actually related to this, that you are getting mentally driven over an edge, and it's intentional because the construct of the news is like designed to drive you over the edge.
Right.
So stop. You said you consume every piece of news on all the spectrum of news.
Well,
and I'm telling you to
stop what?
stop. Stop consuming so much.
Okay, tell Irina to stop consuming politics. Just get on the. What everybody told Irina for years was like, stop looking at race. When you get on the bus, even though there's a dangerous-looking man there, sit directly in front of him. That's what everybody told us, and she gets fucking stabbed in the neck. Like, is it actually good to just ignore everything?
No.
Is that actually good?
No. Can we talk about? I'm okay talking about a race angle on this, but can we introduce another angle?
I don't
and then-
necessarily think it needs to be a race angle. I think it needs to be a gaslighting angle. I'm tired of being gaslit. I'm tired of being told things that are objectively not true, and to be forced to believe them and to not question them. Right? I don't think it's necessarily a race thing. Like maybe there's a race component, but I'm just tired of being fucking gaslit. Like I've been gaslit for the last like 10 fucking years running. I was probably gaslit before that and didn't realize it. I think everybody right now is realizing they're being collectively gaslit. Like why do we have to live like this?
Always has been.
Why do we have to live like this? We have to live in a society where like you're a woman, you get on a fucking bus, you get stabbed in the neck by a guy who was arrested for violent crime 14 fucking times.
Okay, this is what I want to talk about.
14.
I want to talk about this.
That's insane.
I want
fucking
to
madness.
talk about this. regardless of this color of this guy's skin, he's a murderer now, but he's also a felon previous. He's arrested 14 times, not always convicted of his crimes, but was convicted of a violent felony previously. And I want to talk about the penal system. This is a thing that I've been very interested in, and also a good example of like when people say that like I'm not educated on politics because I don't know who Nick Fuentes is, but I know the recidivism percentage. I'm
Okay.
like, I understand politics. I just don't understand the pageantry of fucking who Nick Fuentes is. Okay, so what I want to talk about on the penal system is we are due for some type of reform, and it has to be drastic, and it has to be in one of two directions, and no one's going to like either direction because the most likely direction is going to be hated even worse. But here's the two directions I'm describing. You either go through punishment direction, punishing crimes, and that deters criminality, or you go through rehabilitation of criminals and you reintroduce these criminals into society in a positive way.
Isn't that what we're doing right now? The rehabilitation?
No,
method?
not zero. You can tell that that's a zero because 80% of felons go back into prison. They've studied it since 2005, and 80% of felons have gone back.
Yeah. Can we look at this tweet? This tweet's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is from Camus.
So enhance if you can, but a 10-strike law
A
preventing
10-strike law.
not even a
A
3-strike.
10-strike law.
A 10-strike law preventing people from leaving prison after that many violent crime convictions would reduce period violent crimes by 20%. 5 strikes would cut violent crimes by 40%.
Wait, stop right there. 5 strikes. 5. 40%. Fucking 5. Keep going, sorry.
3 strikes would have violent crimes. 2 strikes would remove 2/3 of violent crimes. I mean, we don't even get employees like to 3 strikes if you do something wrong. It's like, you know, let
Okay.
alone you were talking about.
That's insane. Look, we don't have to live like this as a society.
Okay.
This is a fucking choice.
Let me keep going. Let me keep going on my two silos, right? Because we do not
Preach,
do
brother.
we do not do rehabilitation. Norway does rehabilitation. Norway pays $100,000 per inmate on rehabilitation, and they have a pretty good result. Whether or not we can do that, it's up for debate.
Okay.
I don't think we can, but we don't do that. And we have 80% of felons going back into prison since 2005. These are literal stats. Okay. Violent criminals are even higher. Okay. So what my thought is that if you're not going to rehabilitate somebody to come back into society, they cannot come back in a safe way. This is very obvious.
Right.
Somebody has proven and demonstrated that they're not safe in society. You haven't rehabilitated them, and you can't reintroduce them into society, obviously, based on those figures that say they go back into jail. Okay, so if you're not going to rehabilitate them, then you have to take a dramatic measure on the punishment side, which is you have to remove them from society for good. And there are many ways to do this. One, Nick's brought up in the past, which is like bringing back mental institutions. Maybe have somebody go in there for good.
Right.
Worst thing Reagan ever did, by the way.
Agreed. Agreed.
Okay. I mean, I think I could go further, but I'll stop there and let you guys discuss. But like, I think that there are clear examples of countries who they punish crime harshly, and that deters crime. There are countries who rehabilitate criminals, and that actually helps crime. We're taking this middle road in the United States that doesn't do either of those things. We have one of the highest crime rates, and all of our criminals continue to commit crimes.
It's funny because I think you'd be hard to find people who would like to see a habitual criminal offender be released on the 14th time. I don't know. Maybe I'm naive, but like I feel like that would be like over 90%
10 strike rule
approval.
10 strike rule.
But why doesn't it happen?
Well, I know that God, I think it was Schmanthony in our Discord. I don't know if he wants to be called out, but he correctly pointed out that most of those arrests did not end in convictions. So to call him a career criminal would be false because he did commit a couple of crimes that ended in convictions. One was a violent one that ended in a 6-year sentence.
Got it. So that might be the catch, that like there's only 2 or 3 convictions, and 11 of them were other 11 were arrests, but not convictions.
Exactly.
Okay.
But still, why wasn't he in a mental health facility?
Right.
Even his sister, even when he says something to the effect of, "Oh yeah, the government implanted something in my brain, which caused me to kill this girl. I didn't know her." I mean, it's just infuriating.
Well, Stephen pointed out that in the Reagan administration, we did away with the mental health institutions, which were not necessary for mental health. They were just like incarcerations for people who couldn't live in society.
Right. There's
because of
obviously drawbacks, right? You had people in there who said like, I'm okay, but they're locked
Right.
up against their will. But I mean, you could take this example and homelessness and probably, kill 2 birds with 1 stone here.
Yeah, we've never been about rehabilitation in the United States.
Yeah, so
to be
I
clear.
think while your other option sounds nice, rehabilitation, other countries have done it, shown better results. It's not likely.
It's so unlikely that I would call it impossible, but nothing's impossible. But like, I don't think we even want to consider that path.
All right. Can we bring this tweet back, and maybe if you could show the image at the bottom that you posted in the card? I forget what his name was, but there was like there was a Marine who had choked out a guy on the subway.
Daniel Penny.
Daniel Penny. And obviously a good guy hurting a bad person to prevent a crime, and he was prosecuted for it. Not prosecuted socially for sure, but he was actually prosecuted by the law.
Yeah.
So let's read this out real quick. Either good people hurt bad people.
Hold on, is that the thing?
No, that's not that.
Okay. Or bad
I
people
think I have it here though, maybe.
hurt good
There
people.
it is. I got it.
There are your 2 options. These are your 2 options. For 75 years, liberals have been crying out, I don't want anyone to hurt anybody. But that is not an option. That is not a thing that can happen. If you stop good people from hurting bad people, you are helping bad people hurt good people. The difference between good and bad people is that good people hurt bad people as much as they have to, and bad people hurt good people as much as they can. Western civilization is made up of mostly good people. The rest of the world is made up of mostly bad people. If Western civilization allows itself to hurt people, then it will only hurt people as much as it has to. If Western civilization does not allow itself to hurt people, then the future of humanity is just bad people hurting each other as much as they can until the next asteroid comes along. Those are your 2 options. It really is that simple. So scroll down the bottom real quick, and it's obviously
more,
these 2
but there's
screenshots,
more.
just the images.
Oh, the meme. I brought this meme to the podcast a while ago, by the way. I was ahead of the curve on this.
Hold on, what's going on the
wow.
left side? What's going on the right side? I don't understand.
the
this.
left side is
Daniel Penny
Daniel
choking out the
Penny.
guy. Okay, do you guys understand this meme?
Oh, the left side is the guy choking out the criminal, and the right side is the criminal
The
killing
bad
a
person
girl.
hurting the good person.
Yes,
The
I
left side is
understand.
the good person hurting
Right,
the bad
but do you
person.
get the thing on top? Do you
No,
know
I
what
don't.
that
Is that
means?
the asteroid coming in?
No.
What is it?
Ah.
No, it's like a
Hurricane?
political exam or something.
Ah.
It's
Is
like
that
a,
the other
yeah,
thing we
Eric
looked at?
remembers.
Yeah, we remember this.
This was the thing I brought to your attention like a while ago that ended up
Yeah, I
becoming
remember
like
this.
a major meme. This was like a study visualized of like, so the center of the graph is like close family, and then the outside of the graph is like rocks.
Yep.
And then it was like a heat map of what liberals and conservatives care about. And this became like a meme on the right where like liberals care more about the rocks than the people, which is kind of reflected in like climate policy and stuff. And like liberals care more about like abortion than like puppies and
Puppies
abortion,
and-
stuff
yeah.
like that, whatever your view on that. But that's like the general thing that kind of caught on. And this like kind of bleeds into society, which is like, no, we care more about this like collective thing and like fuck you as an individual sort of.
Here's the thing is that a lot of people, because Daniel Penny was villainized after that whole incident until he
Wall to
was-
wall coverage.
Yeah,
I would want
and-
that guy on the subway with me at all times.
Oh,
All
I mean,
times.
absolutely. But I mean, but do people really want to be in that sort of position to think, oh my God, now I have to defend my character. Now I have to defend my actions. Now it's just a whole process. Now I have to get lawyers to defend me, and for me to for me to listen, I was in the right at this moment.
I wouldn't be
And
surprised if he went
that's-
broke just defending himself.
Yeah,
for this.
exactly. I mean, that costs tens of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
just to defend yourself, just to get an attorney. I mean, and people don't want to put themselves in that sort of. I mean, I would think a majority of people wouldn't want to put themselves in that sort of position for them to be villainized and to have that name attached to their character. And then, you know, I guess I'm just thinking like in long term, and you guys can correct me because you guys are men, but like I'm just thinking, would a guy? I mean, how would you even? I mean, he was married, I believe, right?
I think so.
Yeah, but I mean, luckily, like, but how would you even sort of date after that sort of thing? Because you're gonna have people who have preconceived notions of you.
Oh, well, he dated Aubrey Strobel right after.
Okay.
So that's cool.
Yeah. He's
He dated
dateable.
who?
It polarizes you. It polarizes you in a sense, like how would somebody date this guy, and then other women would be like, I want to date this
But the
guy.
point still
That's
remains is
true.
that we've like set up these like social incentives in which, you know, stepping in to hurt a bad person is a terrible thing to do. You know, like me and my wife were looking at moving in a home, and I was like, well, I'd like to get a shotgun for the house, defend it. And then me and some friends were talking, we're like, well, actually in California, if someone's breaking into your house to hurt you, you could still go to jail for life.
Yeah.
And I was like, we were talking through this, and I was like, this seems wrong. Like the bad person's coming in, I should have the right to defend my family.
Like, why in our
Standard
society
ground
should
model, yeah.
like in our society we shouldn't be left to defend each other to begin with. This is like what taxes are for. This is like, you know, the state exists to protect people for these reasons, that it doesn't require a Daniel or whatever.
But it's just pretty, I guess, ominous to think that you have these cities and communities that wanted to defund the police and cut back funding from the police.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
well, they were
you see
stupid.
the backlash of it, not even the backlash, you see the actions of it now and how that's all transpired. And
Yeah, they're so stupid.
yeah, I mean, you even have, for example, you have New York's Governor Kathy Hochul, who's a Democrat, saying, yeah, you are going to see National Guard on the subways. I mean, after the incident that happened in Charlotte, where Irina Zarytska was fatally stabbed to death. It's just,
Right.
yeah.
So, in addition to the research I did on the recidivism, I also noticed that there was like a way higher correlation in terms of preventing crime, a way higher correlation in am I going to get caught versus what is my punishment? Okay, so this comes in to our convo because like maybe there should be way more surveillance than currently exists, right?
So let me make sure I understand that. So if they believe there's a 90% chance of them getting caught, that's more powerful than saying you're going to go to jail for 90 years.
Exactly.
Okay. Wow.
That's what the study shows, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just doing research today.
Yeah.
But that's what the study shows.
Yeah. And one of the topics we did want to talk about, maybe this will be our last one for the evening, was
Wait, what are we talking about?
this is
Let's think
Should-
about this carefully.
should we just accept we're living in a minority port already, and it's this company Flock.
Wait, can we use Stephanie because she's here?
Sure, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, switch it
So
up.
I'm gonna call an audible here.
Okay.
Stephanie is interesting to me because she is you're not like super religious, right?
No.
Yeah. Stephanie is a non-religious conservative woman, which is like a interesting kind of thing. It's like, ooh, I have questions. Because I think most of the stereotypes of conservative women are basically like, oh, they must like really like Jesus, or maybe like their daddy is like a fucking billionaire in Huntington Beach or something. And
Oh
other
my
than
God,
that,
it is from Huntington Beach. But okay, go ahead. Not a billionaire. Unfortunately, not a billionaire.
fuck.
But
I just look at it.
not a billionaire, unfortunately.
No, I mean we've talked a lot about on this pod about what I right now like growing gap. You can put your mic down, by the way.
I know. I'm
can't
really
even
looking
see
at it like purple.
There's just like widening chasm between like men and women on like the political spectrum, and we've talked about like all of the problems that like I mostly, and maybe Eric, but I don't think Eric cares as much as I do, but like the like I feel like is like happening, and I feel like it's interesting to hear about it from the female perspective, because you said a bunch of times on this podcast, you're like, I'm a woman who has like conservative beliefs, and like I say a thing and my friend wants to cancel, they want to not be friends with me anymore, all
luck.
this, like it's like, and I imagine that must be kind of stressful, because like if we have like guy friends and they say something that we think is dumb, we might be like, all right, libtard, and we just like go have a beer and that's like over, and like we don't care that much. But you've talked about friends like not talking to you anymore,
Yeah.
which I think is kind of gnarly. Like, do you feel like the average woman today is like really fucking far left, especially if they're secular?
As far as secular, not necessarily. I don't think if they're religious, no. But I think the majority of women, especially in big metropolitan cities all across California, whether it be LA or even, of course, New York, all the big metropolitan cities that you can think of, I absolutely think so. I think especially, I mean, for me, if I'm on a dating app and I literally put, you should swipe left on me if you have pronouns in your profile. I don't need to know that. I don't need you to
filtering out
to
like 1%
describe.
of men.
I know. I
on
don't need
dating
you
apps.
to
I don't think
to
guys
describe,
do
like,
that,
oh,
really, do
I'm a
they?
man. I'm a he, him.
On dating apps, like
I don't understand.
Guys don't do that.
I'm sorry. I've tried to listen to the other side of the argument. I don't understand.
it
If
seems
you
like a
look
very
like
fringe
man,
problem on dating apps.
Yeah,
You
that's
don't know- but
that's
it's
solved.
not.
That's
Really?
solved none
It's
of your
not.
problems.
You encounter a ton of men on dating apps with pronouns?
Yes.
Who are
No.
straight?
And there's so many
Heterosexual
no,
men?
no.
that are heterosexual.
No
Eric,
way.
Eric is
But
calling
that's
bullshit.
why I don't even use the dating apps anymore. I'm like, I give
Fugazi.
up.
Eric,
I'm like, I give up.
thoughts on this?
Fugazi.
Wait, what? For what?
Fugazi.
Fake.
Fake.
No, but it's true, and I don't know if maybe it's because they put that to kind of because they think it's like the more mainstream thing. But I'm like, for me,
They're
it's
trying to
just
rope
such,
in the.
it's
Trying
such-
to rope in
it's
the.
Just
such
look at me
a
laid.
turnoff because I think to myself, I think like you're a conformist. You're like conforming to society's like what they think is right, but like you've never needed this in the past. You've never needed this when you were like 4 years old or 3. It's just like I mean, I guess my point is that why now? Why is it like I want a guy to stand up for himself, to just take initiative and everything else.
You sound very trad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
but like I think
conservative
but, like,
woman.
it's just interesting. I think too. I feel like a lot like, but Steve and I told you like I've lost I've lost some friends, some really close friends. I thought like, and I was thinking, especially like in 2020, there was this one friend in particular I was best friends with. I even have like the text messages and everything that I screenshotted. She literally told me, and I was thinking, did I like hit on a guy that she liked or something like that? And she literally said, hey, sorry, I've been ignoring you because I don't think our values align, and I wish you the best of luck. And I was so heartbroken. And I said, like, I'm so sorry to hear this. And she was Jewish as well. I'm Jewish. And I said, like, I wish you a happy Hanukkah. Like, I really hope we can work through this. We've developed such a great friendship since second day of college. Like, I would hate to see that.
I didn't
end like
realize
this.
Jews were allowed to do that to each other.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta
she
stay within the tribe.
was Jewish too. She was Jewish too.
I thought the
yeah,
tribe had to
like,
stick
what the
together.
hell?
Yeah.
I know, right? Exactly. Yeah, but like I've had some girlfriends cancel me, and it's also why I don't really like to post politics anymore, because I will, no matter what, like, what do I get out of it? What like at the end of the day, I have to think like,
You
kind
pro
of back to your
Gaza?
point.
Are you pro Gaza?
like I'm
That would be pretty
I'm
gnarly.
just honestly, no. I'm just like, okay, I'm Jewish. Like I do believe Israel has a right to defend itself. I don't like I'm kind of like, in a sense, Trump, when he said like, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's kind of where I'm at right now, because I'm like,
That's very
Yeah, that's
fucking raw, true.
Yeah.
pretty
yeah,
advanced.
Yeah,
like,
by the
excuse
way.
me for swearing. I know it's not very ladylike, but I just,
Yeah,
know,
we
and
never
the thing
do that
is-
on this podcast.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
Squeaky clean.
I just honestly like I said, I'm always open to different perspective, to changing my mind on things, to always listen to the other side. And I'm like, what do I get out of posting political stuff on my feed? What do I get out of it at the end of the day? And it goes back to your point of like, should I just be naive? And I feel as though I've been burnt out lately. I think this week has just been a freaking awful week. And then you have 24 years tomorrow marks 9/11. It's just been an awful week overall. But
Yeah,
at the
forgot
end of the
about
day,
that.
like, what do I truly get out of this? If anything, I'll have some people be like, yes, like I totally agree with you, but more than not, I feel as though I'm going to piss people off. And I just, I don't want to be in that situation anymore. But
Okay.
I kind of went off on a tangent, but I hope that answers your
No, that's
your,
good.
your
I have a
question.
follow up for you. Like, do you agree with? So we've cited data on the show that I think amongst like Gen Z shows like a 50 to 60 point gap in the left right amongst men and women, like insane skew. Maybe that was Korea, which is like the biggest we've seen, but like it's still like very significant in the US. Like, why do you think women are so liberal now, and why do you think men are so conservative, especially when we hone in on young single men, young single women? Like, what is driving that, especially from like the female perspective?
I like this.
don't want to speak for everyone, but I think.
Well, we like doing that on the show, so you're gonna have to
But I
do your
remember.
best to generalize.
So I will cite 2 examples. So I remember, when was it, in 2017? I think it was 2017, 2018, the whole Me Too movement. Everyone like I said, everyone was posting on their Facebook, Me Too, Me Too, Me Too. And I was just thinking to myself, like, have I been catcalled? Yes. Have I been like have people said like just disgusting things to me? Like, yes. I'm not gonna say Me Too, because to me that really undermines the people who've actually been sexually assaulted, who have gone through some sort of trauma. I think, and I don't want to, like I said, I feel like this is going to be a controversial statement.
It's fine.
I feel as though
I've been canceled 6 times already this pod.
Well, you haven't been like, okay, little flex here. You know what I'm going to say.
Are you gonna tell me that nobody listens to my podcast?
No,
and you have like 100,000 followers?
okay, I've been canceled by
'Cause that'd be true.
Okay,
No, I know you're saying.
I've been canceled by Mia Khalifa. So
Oh, that's a fun anecdote. Tell the story. So you've been canceled by
It's good lore.
You've been canceled by a porn star that many people on this pod have probably wanked it to.
Never heard of her.
For our British listeners.
No, it was so funny.
It's your cousin. Yeah.
Oh.
You ever heard of
that's
Mia
it. Yeah,
Khalifa?
No.
He's been framed as
Good
your
answer.
step cousin or something.
Good answer.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh. But I think,
This is lore. Okay,
Oh,
you're catching up with the lore
okay,
episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's okay. This is gonna be way better than
So
our mom's lore. Go.
This was early 2021. So it was during the meme stock craze, and Mia Khalifa was just tweeting out a whole bunch of crap about like BlackBerry, Nokia, whatever. And I was like, you know what? A lot of people, I feel she has a huge following, obviously. And I
Huge
literally. So I just thought, okay, I'm just gonna follow her just so I can see what she's tweeting about. Maybe invest a little bit here or there. Anyway, so as soon as I followed her, she took a screenshot of my whole profile and she said, please unfollow me at your earliest convenience, you sociopathic terrorist on democracy.
Whoa.
And then when I saw that, I was like, holy crap. And I was like, oh my God. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get death threats. I'm going to get all this stuff. Luckily, a conservative person in the field, they said, oh, look, how unusual.
You've arrived.
Something to the effect of like, oh, look, how unusual. An Arab coming after a Jew or something like that, which I don't condone. Like, I don't.
That's funny.
I mean, objectively funny.
Objectively funny.
So
Funny.
then all of the comments were like, of dildos and being like, oh, why don't you just block her? Or like, oh, of course, like everyone was hammering her. And I was like, oh, okay. So I wiped the sweat off my forehead for that. But
Damn, you really made it in that moment. That's pretty rad.
yeah, there was another time. Actually, it was fairly recently where she tried to cancel me again. I forgot what it had to do with, but I said like, oh, and then she's like, why are you so obsessed with me? I'm like, she's like, do you want my autograph? And I just like said, sure, yeah, I could probably sell it to some people and say that it has something I don't even know.
Good
Oh,
lord.
you had such a good comeback in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't want to go there, okay? You can finish it for me. How about that?
It's
okay?
good lore either way. It's good lore.
It's great lore. It's great lore. I've never been canceled by Mia Khalifa personally. Nick probably has, but Nick
No,
is
the chat said, oh, I thought it said. Anyway, they're liking you even more now.
You can't just like leave us hanging. You can't leave me
Fall
hanging.
said Stephanie keeps getting hotter.
Yeah. All right, we
No,
we
you
want to
guys
know
starting
what
over
I
here.
want to know.
Wait, I want to hone back in.
Wait,
why?
yeah.
Why are women like? I want to hear from your perspective because
Yeah.
I've said stuff, and then people are like, "Okay, dude, calm
Well,
down." But why is there such a huge gap? Why are women so liberal? Why are modern women so liberal, especially the youths?
So first, I want to get to real quickly because you also asked about
Are you
the
going to
male
take me
perspective.
first through the history of the Russia?
Yeah,
Crimea
in
conflict?
1600.
1100.
So okay, I'll give you. So my cousin, he's a couple years younger than me, my age, male, heterosexual. He used to be a far left Bernie Sanders supporter, and then but he works in the industry in Hollywood, making documentaries and so forth. And he became more and more conservative because he told me, "Oh my God, I feel like everyone is kind of playing the victim over here." Luckily, luckily he doesn't go. We have different last names and everything, but. And I think women are going more and more to the left because I think part of it, honestly, does have to do with this whole, because there's that whole, not revelation, so to speak, but that whole spike of women being like, oh, I'm a girl boss, I'm a woman boss, that I don't need no man. And I think you have people on social media being like, yes, like, you go girl, you're a hustler, all this stuff. When at the end of the day, I think, and like I said, I can't speak for all women, and I think it's a tough position for me because I'm not on that viewpoint. I'm not
Right.
on that spectrum. But I think part of it has to be, like even just kind of the small things, like, oh, look at men taking over our government, like, you know, oh, they always, for example, Hillary Clinton, all she did on the campaign trail, all she did was really hone into the, like, well, you should elect me because I'm a woman. For example, I don't want to be, if I'm promoted to a position, I don't want it to be because, oh, you're a Jew and you're a woman.
Yeah.
No, I want it to be because of my merit. I honestly think we've lost that in
Damn.
society. You look at, for example, if any company that's publicly traded, headquartered in California, they have to have some sort of minority or woman on the corporate board. Why?
Right.
I'm not, like, I don't.
Well, that's racist
I just don't
and
think-
sexist. It's
Okay,
prejudice.
so
It
what you're
is.
saying is the women who are liberal wants to be elevated to status just because they're a woman.
Yes.
Okay. I have a.
Shoot, am I gonna get
No. I have a slight.
I thought I was trolling. Damn it!
I have
think
like
that's like a
something to
victim
add on
mentality,
to your theory. So you mentioned.
God, I'm gonna get canceled. I'm probably gonna lose my
It's
friend.
fine. Nobody listens to this podcast. You're good.
Yeah. You mentioned girl boss.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Me Too movement.
Mm-hmm.
We also mentioned, they don't really like men in high places, or maybe it's more like the toxic masculinity thing. So they have this. There's this trend of women, particularly young women, pushing away, this like masculine thing, and maybe taking on the masculine, and
Yeah.
like I don't need men. And my theory is that they end up being more liberal because they're okay if the government kind of replaces that masculine role in the relationship.
Yeah.
So
100%.
so-
Uh,
yeah.
so I don't need you, Eric, or you, Steven, to play that role, but like I do need someone to protect me. I do need someone to help provide for
I
me financially,
agree.
and like I'm okay with a heavy-handed government, and you be that masculine protector for me. And I don't know if I'm off base. It's nothing based on fact. It's just like this gut
no,
feeling that
I see where-
well, are you okay with the government because they're gonna protect you?
I see where you're coming from. And by the way, like, I'm not trying to like diminish anyone who is a girl boss or anything. That's just this. I just want to like put it out there. It's
No,
just
it's a good thing.
It's just a stereotype. And like I said, this is just a generalization. Generalization. Like, I just want to put that out there because that's just what I've noticed from more of my liberal friends.
What about just the trend of like women working more now?
Well, yeah, that too. But,
But
like,
wouldn't that be more conservative? I don't know. Am I?
No, because I
No.
think it's more
No?
liberal because
No.
they're like, okay, well,
No.
you have this
Nick.
idea of like, oh, okay, women are getting, I think it's what women are. There's more women in college now than there are
Yes.
men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's more women, and like I think that is great. I think like in the fact of like there's women that want to pursue higher education rather than like going to OnlyFans or like being a like a seeking
Influencer? Yeah.
arrangement or like whatever. But I it's so hard because like I am a woman, but it's like I don't want to speak for them, and it's so hard but I've been trying to get inside their, just understand. I think a lot of it is just, but I will have to say I think a lot of it too is I think a lot of women have trauma, and have been hurt by men, as well. I'm not saying, like, I think there's so many different factors. I don't think you can pinpoint to any one thing in particular.
I mean, I don't know.
In my opinion.
I turned a little more conservative once I started getting a paycheck, and I realized, oh my God, look at all these taxes. What does it
Yeah.
actually get me? So why wouldn't women going to the workforce, and not only that, but earning more, why would that necessarily make them more liberal than conservative? There's probably a lot of easy arguments, but you know, most people hit that mark and they're like, fuck.
Well,
Taxes.
I've noticed once women ascend to the I am boss woman who owns my own business level, then they actually tend to start skewing conservative. But when they're like women who are like, I'm a entry level project manager at Meta, then they're like,
Yeah.
they're liberal.
Okay.
It's like a
Yeah, it's just
push-pull.
it's honestly like for me, it's just so hard for me to like, and all of my cousins, everyone in my family is a boy essentially, so it's like I never couldn't ask them or anything else, but just based on my experience, I think there's this like, oh well, you know, there's this mentality of like all men are players, all men have Peter Pan syndrome, and I think that has to do with it too. I think there's a lot of like hurt regarding like them developing relationships, and you know, I think that's the best answer that I can give you right now. It's just it's difficult, and I think it also depends on a person to person basis, but I do agree with you, more women tend to lean liberal. I think
And the gap is widening, and that's why it's like such an interesting phenomenon.
especially among like Gen Z and everything. You see the gaps, and as
Isn't
said,
like the
it's
younger
widening.
generation going full Trump? Like the youngest generation?
the men.
The men, yeah,
The men.
Women are not.
no,
No. I think the gap is widening amongst women. But I also think amongst the women themselves, there's a greater polarity too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I have no idea.
Stephanie, don't you have to go in the studio soon? And what time? What time?
3 a.m.
No, she said
Oh, 3
3
a.m. I
a.m.
thought 8. Yeah,
I
8
thought 8
you
p.m.
got-
too.
Oh my God.
She's good. She can come out after, have a few drinks, still sober up for
I
the
know, right?
broadcast.
Stephanie, you gotta we gotta take Alfalfa rules into your next job, which is a 2-drink minimum.
I think I know my bladder can only handle like one clearly because yeah, who knows how many times I've like gone to the bathroom. Like, but no, I think it's just been, this year's just been crazy. I mean, I like just thinking of like this past year and a half and everything. Like, I didn't think it could get crazier than 2020, but boy,
Here we are.
here we are, and it, like, yeah.
Stephanie, do you have like an X profile or maybe the show that you work on you wanted to mention?
I do. Okay, so since I have a common last name, which actually isn't really my last name, but it was like my last name that they gave to like my great grandparents immigrating to Russia, or from Russia to Ellis Island, whatever. Anyway, so my X profile is _ Stephanie Myers. That's MYERSPHIE. And then my Instagram name is just Steph Myers. I do have Stephanie Myers News on Instagram, but like I said, I've been a little bit burnt out lately. I just need a vacation to just try to get back on track.
You do. You need
You
a
got
vacation.
you got a big girl Twitter account here.
Oh yeah. My
65,000 followers.
I know, but
Holy
it doesn't.
shit.
Honestly, I feel like a lot of it's
More
bots.
than the total of our entire audience.
I feel like a lot of it honestly is bots.
It's 25,000
so
Russian
don't-
bots.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it's bot. Well, I lost like 10K like after the 2024 election or 2020 election or so.
full
But,
sus.
Do you have a
Anyway.
special sign-off message to your middle school friend?
To my middle school friend.
Yeah, Danny's still watching.
To Danny Sachs.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like just such a small world. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, nothing in particular.
He was
like,
hoping for a
that's
little
so
more.
Cool.
Have a good summer, Danny. Have a good summer, Danny Sachs.
I'd rather be. I'm a really bad liar. I'd rather be. I'm a terrible liar. So I'd rather keep it sincere. And I'm just like, oh my
Nice.
God, like that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Small world.
Hey, Danny, that's just great.
Yeah,
It's
hags, bro.
so great.
See ya.
I know.
So good to see you again.
So
Well-
good to see you again. I know. Now I have flashbacks of like 8th grade dance, like middle school dances when the teachers would watch us. I probably was the one who asked you to dance with me.
Did you
I
guys
think I
dance
was.
together?
Yeah, we did. We slow
you-
danced together.
Oh,
I
like-
think I was the one who asked
Like
him.
far apart, or like did you come in close?
Oh, probably far apart. I was 13 or 14.
Bro, when you're close together, like that's when you know you're like you're one of the
Yeah,
bad
chime
kids.
in the chat. I know. I'm like, yeah. I don't. Oh man.
I
But
just
yeah.
had flashbacks to.
Yeah.
Danny says,
What did-
I love you too. This is so good.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
amazing.
It's amazing, Danny. Oh, you're hilarious.
Oh my god, such a small world. So funny. I don't even feel like this is surreal right now. I feel like I'm dreaming.
That was the best end to an episode
Yeah.
ever.
All right. Well, Steph, thanks for hanging out with us
Oh my
today.
gosh,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you so much.
Hey,
That was fun.
Appreciate
Danny,
it.
stay strong, King.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging in the chat. You guys were very active today. We loved all your inputs. Like the video if you haven't already. Tickles the algorithms in all the right way. And
direct all your hate mail to me in the Discord.
yeah, come to the
Or to
Discord.
me,
Just
I'm
tag me, yell at
curious.
me. Yeah, tag Stephanie on it. Be nicer to her though. Like I can handle it.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, that's true. He's the logical one. I'm like the emotional one.
all the links are at alfalfapod.com. And I think all of us will be here next week,
Except me.
except Steph.
I will be transformed into I will be what is it? I will be transitioning back into
Back into Arman,
back
a Persian bearded man.
back into a Persian
You're getting some
character.
recurring guest spot requests, so
Okay.
Oh my gosh,
might be
I
a little
cracked myself
awkward
up.
if you are simultaneously a white woman and a Persian man, but you know, we'll make it
J Rock
work.
says get Stephanie in the Discord. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. We love you lots. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next week, Wednesday, 5 p.m. PST. See ya.
I don't know why I kissed. Okay, whatever.